Are we going? Are we rolling? I
Yes.
didn't hear a countdown.
What, really? Oh, my bad. We're going.
Yeah, like I literally didn't hear a countdown.
Well, we're going now.
Oh, cool. So, hi guys. This is the Top Tier Tiers August 2018 Banlist and Tier List. Well, mostly Banlist Roundtable, but we all know everyone's here for the tier lists. So
Tier
we've got a
lists.
yes, tier lists, multiples. We've got an illustrious crew of various misfits here. We've got myself, lycheepunnet. We've got the guy who did the slides, Tim Tom, the Kurisu avatar.
Hello.
And now we've got a bunch of people who aren't normally on. We've got celednb because we need the token European. Oh wait, we have two. Wait, did he actually go to nap? Oh my god, he actually went in.
Wait, did he?
Oh, okay,
see.
he didn't. All right. We've what are we calling you? Ian.
My name in here is Nanian, but let's just
Nanian.
keep it at Ian usually.
I think I literally just yeah, okay. So you can be Nanian.
Nice.
Oh god. You know that like I read that as male Ian, right?
Wait, what?
Because Nan in Chinese is male.
Oh, like that. No,
yes.
it's like Nanian.
Yes, but that's what I thought you were doing. We've got some guy who runs a card shop and doesn't actually play this game. And I don't know how his internet's faring. Like, he's been disconnecting more than I have, and I'm Australian. And speaking of Australians, we've also got one more chap. He's going by Zabuton, right?
Poor chap.
Sounds good.
That's me. Chap.
Yes.
For short.
No problem. You're Zap. Okay. We had a few others who were supposed to join, but they had some last minute issues, so we've decided to go ahead and go on without them. We still have a few of the things that we asked everyone to prepare beforehand, so everyone's got like a little tier list, they've got some explanation as to why they've got things where, and they've got a bit of commentary on the recent ban list, which is what we'll start with. But before we do any of that, we'll talk about what the ban list actually was. So for the people following along at home, that's slide number 8. So what happened in this ban list, or what everyone expected to happen, was Bang Dream got hit. So the Kira Kira Kasumi, or whatever the name of the card is, the level 0 PR, was limited to 1 per deck, which is a restriction we haven't seen since America, but it also makes a lot of sense. A lot of people also expected an additional restriction to Bang Dream, including myself, but that didn't happen. Instead, we got the very necessary unbanning of Cyril Changes Clothes, which is
game changer for sure.
yeah, it does change some number of things. So a card that should have been off probably half a decade ago has finally come off. Otherwise, there haven't really been any other changes. People expected like Love Live Sunshine or Hina Logic to maybe take a hit. I think one person I saw even wanted Konosuba to take a hit, but none of that happened. It was just single Bang Dream restriction, and then Cyril getting hit. So, like I said, we've gotten everybody to write out some commentary on the ban list. Some people haven't done it, but those are the people who aren't here, so that's fine. So we can start with celednb, who has got his thoughts on the ban list. How's this gonna go? You just people can read this.
I don't know.
People can like read along. So
we could do
people
it.
can like. Well, people can read
Just-
along, right? Because you've got
Yeah,
access
let's
to the
just
slides.
talk about the
Yeah, I mean, let's just put it on the table, I guess. We can just start with
Sure,
Bang
sure.
Dream. So if anyone has
Okay.
any thoughts on the Bang Dream restriction, where, like, for
Who
example,
here?
did it
Well,
deserve
who
it?
here played the most?
Yeah.
Well, it
maybe
surely
that too.
deserved it. Like,
Yeah. Well, sure.
yeah,
How much-
definitely.
What did you expect to get hit? How does it change? Going forward in the meta. What do you think will happen?
Okay, so I don't think it needed to get hit power level wise, but it needed to get hit representation wise.
I mean, that's what the ban list is for, right?
Yeah.
The ban list is to make a better play environment, and if something's too overrepresented, then it needs to be hit. And
Do we
I
agree
actually
on that?
disagree with you.
Do we agree on
I disagree.
that's what
Well,
that being what the ban list is for, or what?
Yeah, I think
I mean-
that's more or less right.
The power of the individual card was like really high though.
The power of the
Yeah.
level 0 is extremely high.
The level 0 is really strong.
Yeah.
It's probably one of the strongest cards on the list right now, actually. But like overall, the deck wasn't oppressive.
Well, it was
Interesting.
oppressive in that there were too many of it.
Yeah, sure, like in Japan maybe, but not across like all regions, I guess.
Yeah, but the other regions don't matter for the ban list.
Yeah, sure. Well, I think most people expected the PR to get hit in some capacity. I think a lot of people just thought it would be like a pick one of 4 with the PR on it and like a couple other cards, but it's actually really hard to make the list because the lists are kind of diverse. So if you just hit like PR and Yukina and maybe the 1-0 the blue event, then people just move to the Mocha top end. So it doesn't really do
Did you say
anything.
the ones are what event?
The toilet event, the
The 1-0 blue event.
Oh yeah. Did
And
you
just-
say poo?
What? What's that?
I didn't understand, Ken. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Don't worry.
You cut out a little. Don't worry. I'm not going to repeat it. Either way, yeah. Look, there were a few possible bans floating around. I think almost universally people expected either hit Kasumi to 1 this 0-0 or put her on a list with a bunch of other things. The plans of attack I saw were either top end, so put her on the list with 2 or 3 of the other top end options, like Arisa anti the Arisa minus soul, the Yukina finisher, and the Mocha finisher. The level 1 route, so get her, then also put her on the list with like the 1-0 combo she's meant to support and other 1-0
Which is
options.
effectively a ban.
That's
Yeah,
even
which
worse.
I-
That's just a ban.
I
That's what
don't
they
like
did with
that.
Haku.
I really don't like that because that's what they did with Nisakoi, and that effectively
Excellent.
just banned Raku, and that wasn't. I don't think that was a very elegant ban. I think it was clumsy. What they've done here, what I expected was a restriction of Kasumi down to 1 or even 0. Like a ban would not have surprised me, to be honest. And then a pick one of several really, and I couldn't really zone in on what they wanted. Dub, you had like an interpretation of what you thought might have needed to happen. Is that right?
Oh yeah, sorry, that's me. In terms of Bangreen,
Yeah, like you had a combo that you thought should have been hit.
so if you remember the stock swap event or whatever you want to call it, I call it bread.
Yeah.
Plus the Arisa level 3 in the first set, which makes your opponent choose a climax in the waiting room and shuffle everything else back. That combo is not fun to play. I've definitely killed a bunch of people in tournaments where they were doing completely fine. They refreshed with a pretty decent deck on 3-0, some number of stock, maybe like 7. Put cards back in their deck and swap like 2 climaxes out, swing them 3 times, they'd be on 3-6, maybe just straight out die that turn if they're in a bad situation. I've also had it back at me. It's the only set which allows you to kind of just flip the game in that way. And that's similar as Konosuba, which requires 6 stock.
Did you mention Love Life? You cut out for a moment there. Because Love Life.
Love Live, but again, Love Live also costs 6 stock, and you can only do it at level 3. You can only do both parts at level 3, whereas the stock swap, you can just drop a card from your hand at 1 stock at level 2. Always have the option in your hand, and I think what other sets have the exact copy of that card other than Idolmaster?
Idolmaster
Milky
is-
Holmes.
Yeah, Charlotte has it as well.
But I don't think any other set really has the capacity to just hold the card in the hand for as long as they want to. In Bangream, I think it's even okay to keep it for your initial mulligan, depending on what the remainder of your hand is.
Because of the combo, right?
That only applies because you have
And
Kasumi.
like,
Wait, is it
Some-
because
sometimes-
of the PR, Kasumi, or
Yeah,
like?
it's really only because of the PR. Because right now, Penguin actually struggles with hand size.
It's not
You
just
don't
hand
want
size
to,
that
I think
Bang Dream.
it's-
Like Bang Dream doesn't have an issue with hand size now. It'll be like incidental stuff because if you want to play it the way you did before, you're going to be playing like drop searches and stuff, and that's nowhere near as good.
Yeah, you just
Like-
don't have the hand overhead. It's not like
You
actually
would have
struggle
to
for
change
hand
the
size,
number
but
of-
you can't keep cards in hand that you want to keep in hand.
I haven't exactly tested Bang Dream extensively since the ban list. I've just moved on to some other stuff. But
Mhm.
But
But
my
you'll
my
say-
the
my
way that I was able to flip games.
sure.
Punish people for playing well.
I
Really
mean that's
too much you can do about Arisa, right?
that's just kind of the point of the stock swap event, right? Like that's something
The
that
stock swap event is on its own, it more punishes people. Sorry, that's not punish, but
Well, you can play around stock swap being effective. You can't really
Arisa
play
Yeah.
stock swap
into
and
the combo.
decompressor being effective. But what using stock swap and like Arisa does is that
I think hit one of two for those would have been quite preferable.
like they can't double Yukina at that point anymore. So if you had decent compression beforehand, it's probably not likely to kill you regardless.
Yeah. Essentially, you pay one of your Yukina on reverse burns for it, basically. So.
First, you can't
bad.
play your Yukina, right? It's the solution that you use a Yukina combo to.
Cutting out a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh wait, my Discord app finished downloading. Let me swap over to that then.
Okay.
we had multiple people not with the app. That's cool. Anyway, in the meantime, look, I think that we should discuss exactly why Kasumi was super broken for the people who haven't played against Bang Dream or haven't played against versions running this Kasumi. Does anyone have any points to start as to why they
Sure.
think this is? Look, in
Uh,
my opinion, this is
like-
the best level 0 printed in a long
like
time.
obvious,
so-
like it's an obvious like consistency aid, like a huge consistency aid. It's a costless filter to 2 of your level 1 combo pieces, which objectively is just really strong, especially since it costs no stock. The fact that it's also a level 0 means it's like, and it searches from deck. It's incredibly repeatable as well. Also due to the fact that it costs no stock. It's just like it's a costless way to get, your level 1 combo from your deck.
Yeah, it thins your deck for free. And
Yeah,
you
that's
basically
my
always
issue
triple
with it.
combo.
Like you can do stuff. You can do nutty stuff like play PR at level 0. It dies. Salvage it again with the event that you pulled out of your deck. Play it again. Get another combo. Stuff like that. Like that. Those kinds of plays were just like it's very similar to like Aaron, like with the gear, except it's way better because you don't actually minus. Like the access to multiple copies of your combo was also absurd by any measure. I don't think any other deck in the game, save for AOT, had that kind of access to their level 1 combo.
And the thing is, like, once you have the triple combo online, it's actually really easy to just keep chaining the triple combo if you draw the climax again and again. Like basically every climax, every gate that you draw represents triple combo for the deck because of the
Yeah.
PR existing.
And what they've done now is now there are 2 bottlenecks. Like, not only is there a bottleneck on the climax, but there's a bottleneck on getting the PR. So previously, because you run the PR at 4, you've got to. Is someone eating? Previously, you ran the PR at 4, so it was very easy to just open with the PR and just be able to play it, let it die naturally. Now, since you only run 1, that's significantly less easy to do. You're gonna have to drop search for it, or you're gonna have to, get lucky. And if you don't get it very early in the game, or if you don't get an out to it early in the game, then you're going to have to well, your deck just does not function nearly as well. Like if you've played the English version of the deck, it bends its back it bends itself backwards to get what it needs, and you basically become a version of that deck. And that's not a particularly powerful deck. When you do get the PR, you still aren't able to, multi-combo over and over based on climax, because you have to make exactly the play mentioned before, the one where you let the customer die and then you salvage it back with the
Well, it
Christmas
also
event or
works
whatever it's called.
if you're before refresh, because you just like the 3 customists die, they go in the win after refresh, and then you just triple event them back.
Yeah, sure, but it's not as well. I guess if you
Yeah.
brainstorm and you play the event over and over, that's still based on how many you draw, right? Because you don't have this 4 of card that additionally adds way more consistency anymore. So you're not going to be refreshing super early. And the other point, which I don't think was touched on enough, is that if you do draw multiples of this card at level 0 and you do use it, which I think is very correct, you create a deck state where you're just favored to cancel in the first deck, which just removes one of the fundamental vulnerabilities of any deck in the format, and one that I think is integral to keeping the game fair. Like if you don't have this vulnerability, then it makes it so a lot of decks just cannot possibly compete. And because of that, that sort of nut draw is just not beatable by any deck at all, and that did need to be hit. And that was the single strongest part about the Kasumi, in my opinion, if you draw multiples. Now,
I mean,
as
it's
for
also
what... go on.
it's also pretty oppressive to use that in the second deck.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, it not only does it create second deck compression with the on the first deck, but you can maintain that compression going forward. Sometimes you can't do that because a lot of decks, explode and use all their stock. Like, for example, like Hina Logic will use all their stock, and obviously they have compression in other ways. But imagine a deck like that just uses all their stock and then goes back to having very mediocre compression, like between first and second deck compression. That's a normal state of affairs for a lot of decks, including some very competitive decks. But Bang Dream never has that problem. Bang Dream will always be on good
I disagree with you guys. I think the card sucks in second deck. If you're having a good game, good deck, and I'm not going to accuse anyone here of not playing the deck, but you actually just can't use the card in second deck.
Yeah.
Like a good
Usually you just don't have targets.
You have
because
3
you
in your
have
hand and 3 in your hand.
Yeah.
Sure, that's
card
perfectly
actually
fine.
It's not opening.
Okay, I'm not going to say anything like I play the deck. I don't.
You can use it in third deck again, usually, if you're like just to get like 2 card extra compression, but second deck it's really difficult. Or not even third, like when you hit level 3, more or less. Or,
Yeah,
like,
it was
late
a
level 2.
small thing I noticed when I was playing your deck, that I could maybe just do one of them in the second deck, if I was lucky. Yeah.
Yeah, if you trigger one of the pieces early, it's just basically you can't do it after the initial one until like
Sure.
late in the game.
Is
Fact remains,
Mr.
like-
Zab back? I
Who
think he
knows?
is.
Yeah, well, I never actually left. I was listening to what you guys were saying.
Oh.
I just can't open the app, so
Okay.
Sure. But I think my point remains. Like, I think the stupidest thing about it is drawing multiples lets you break a fundamental rule of this game, which people like go nuts playing cards that do nothing but mill just to try and get past this hurdle, whereas Bang Dream just ignores it completely if you draw multiples, and I don't think that's reasonable. I think that needs to be hit.
I mean, Bang Dream also has the mill option still.
Yeah, that's the thing. See, this not only compresses, but it also accelerates your mill because it gets you those 1-0 events. And obviously you can brainstorm and everything. So, yeah, you get to second deck very quickly, and then you get to real second deck very quickly, and then it's like, you do have a plethora of top-end options. And it costs no stock either, so you can brainstorm all you want and not be any worse off for it. So I think it was a very,
And
very...
you generate extra free stock.
Yes. It was a very needed hit. Like, I think that letting this thing be at 4, like, there are some arguments to not hit it, for example, the price. But I think that's a stupid argument. I think that if you buy into Bang Dream when this card is super expensive, then you're digging your own grave. You know this card is going to get hit at some point, because if you've played the deck and have any idea about what bans mean, then you know that they're probably going to get hit. So I think price is a really terrible argument. And I don't think there's really another good argument against not hitting this card.
Yo, how many people here underrated the card when it first came out? I super underrated it. I thought it was like whatever.
No, I called it
Nah.
stupid.
And
I
knew
called
the card was nuts, but the
But it
card
was
came out when we
helpful.
still only had the first set.
I think what I said when I saw the set card at first, I was like, I remember commenting to a friend, Alpha's gonna love this card because it's like a total, it's so overwrought, the function of this card, and specifically with like the way it's meant to work with this combo. It's like so specific and so like absurdly like over spec compared to like any comparable tool from any other deck. So when I saw it, to answer your question, I did think it was going to be
provide.
I didn't think the set was good, but I thought the card, like as soon as I saw it, I was like, if there's going to be a set
the
two,
card was insane.
Yeah.
Like-
as soon as I saw it, I said, if there's going to be a second set, this card's going to be absurd. It's going to be really
How
broken.
many people? Like, if I thought it was good, and this is like my biggest mistake. If I had thought it was good, I wouldn't have given and ripped a bunch. when
Right.
they were
Yeah,
coming in.
that's really funny. I know a lot of people. I know a guy in San Diego who apparently like people just didn't like take the card, like they were just leaving this card on the tables, so he just like picked up a shitload.
A
and
lot of them
he-
disappeared.
Yeah, and he had like at least like 50 or something that ended up selling after the price spike.
Nice.
Well,
He just picked them up off tables because people were just leaving them wherever.
My perspective, like a lot of people said it was good. Then why didn't we? Because Way Shorts rarely has
Well, because the deck was
like
good,
a
right?
gathering.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like the card is good, but my thought was, well, this really shitty combo suddenly got really like viable, but it was still a shitty combo in a mediocre deck. So whatever, right? And
mean-
then the deck got good. So then the promo got really, really good. Obviously.
I do think we
Wasn't
saw
the-
a price spike once the second set was announced, though. I think. I don't. I
Well, I mean,
forget how
that's-
I forget the timeline
It wasn't
actually.
initially. I think it
You-
was.
Utah does that
initially- it was
always.
like a week after or something.
I mean, it was sitting at like 1980 for a long time.
The combo wasn't
It was,
that
it
bad
was, it
anyway.
was 400 yen. It was 400 yen when first set came out.
It was pretty cheap when it first came out.
Yeah,
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 it
sure.
was-
But when
was
they announced the
1K.
second set, it went
No,
up
no, no, no.
by a lot.
No, it was even on first week of release, it was 980. And even second week, I think. And then like somewhere down the line it jumped to like 1980, but I think it's like 1 month after release. I think it jumped to like 980 1 week after release, and then it jumped even more.
Oh,
Because
What?
I remember
Remember
buying
what the other cards
them
in the PR pack were?
it was like a shitty 1/1 and a 2/1 level 3 killer thing. I think.
No, I think.
Oh,
I
you
think it
mean
was
you mean
in-
in that same? You mean from the other series?
Yeah.
It was like a 1/1
Five
Ren
or so.
from ReZero, and was it an Aqua? Was that the power? Was it an Aqua? Like an Aqua inner work close or something? This is 0/0.
I think it was the Work Cloves, the LB Brainstorm, and
Oh wait, was
I
it the
don't-
LB
I-
Brainstorm?
it was
it was
that,
the
sir.
first PR pack.
It was definitely.
I
was
don't
definitely that one.
remember. I guess
So I think it was
might have been
it was a
LB
Megumin. It was a Megumin with like a 1/0 that gained power when you play it, something like that. And I can't remember.
I think
the
it was an
last card.
encounter, yeah.
Anyway,
I am
Kind of
just
curious.
super salty that I ripped this card like
Whatever.
a bunch. I like
It's
ripped
your
like at
own.
least.
As a card shop owner, should you really be ripping cards?
Don't rip cards, you idiot.
Ripped it a lot.
Yeah, and
Nice
you're
one,
idiots for
dude.
doing so. Like,
Did you rip any foils?
I ripped like I don't remember, but I can probably confidently say I ripped a foil one, like at least one.
Sick. Nice story, dude.
I'm gonna say that if you play Flip It or Rip It, you're a retard. Like,
Oh man.
you're literally burning money. I don't understand you.
It's
So
an object, man.
yeah, objects are worth money, idiot.
Okay.
alright, so let's-
does
let's
anyone
talk about-
have any like thoughts on where the deck will go from now on in a post limited to one?
Bang Dream.
I
Yeah.
think
It's
eventually
still going to be overrepresented.
like
And
Actually-
with that many expansions and good cards, why not, right?
Yeah.
It's gonna be
There's
overrepresented no matter what.
There's multiple reasons, yeah, because it's idols. It's really popular. Like, I know it's not technically idols, but it's idols for all I care. It's really popular,
IP.
and the set is still pretty decent. What ends up happening is probably people will try a bunch of new stuff, a bunch of new level 1 combos that they didn't explore before, and then they realize they all suck and go back to Kasumi because it's on a door. That's probably their reasoning, just because it's on a door.
He's not wrong.
I think the combo is still really.
I mean, I think it's a
As
The
long
veritable merit.
You'll still get the combo. You'll still get
Yeah.
the combo quite consistently, but you won't get the other benefits of the PR.
You
Quite
also,
as well.
get a
I don't
broken
think you'll
product.
get, I don't think you'll get triple combo turns anymore that often. It'll
I
probably
think
be
it's pretty doable, honestly, because you can just drop search into the Kasumi, and Kasumi search the parts,
The
then
problem is
cleanse to
getting
get the
3
Kasumi back,
events in
search
bin.
again.
The problem is mostly getting 3 events in
Oh.
bin.
Okay, those were the PR.
Oh, those were the PRs.
Good PR for that. I'm so salty with that.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right.
We didn't even get the PR pack, so.
Let's talk about some bans that could have happened but didn't. So let's start with Sunshine. Sunshine was already hit, obviously, and it still continued to top a fair bit. Was there another ban people had in mind to try and curb Sunshine? I know Japan Twitter had like the Mari 1-0 as an addition to the pick list, and I kind of rolled my eyes at that.
Or the Dia 1-0.
what could you hit?
Sense. The Dia 1-0 or the Mari 1-0.
Die
I
1-0
think-
maybe?
I think the thing you hit is the Brainstorm. I think that card just does not need to exist.
Sure, those are Brainstorm, 1-0 Mari, or 1-0 Dia maybe.
Like, there's literally no reason the deck needed that Salvage Brainstorm, and they printed it knowing the fallout would happen. They even tried to, like, limit it only to the My Tonight deck or whatever. I don't actually know the name of the deck.
It's part of that
But,
combo, yeah. But
yeah,
its function as a Brainstorm is not affected by not being in that deck.
Exactly. Like, they didn't try to limit it properly. So you just played a Salvage Brainstorm in every deck, and now the whole dance you had between the tap 2 Salvage Brainstorm, the tap 1 Salvage Yellow Brainstorm, and all of that is just gone because you just have this objectively better card. And I think that was just a bad thing for them to do. They should hit that.
If you hit that, then the new set is like
The
2
list
cards.
talking without the Salvage Brainstorm at all, though. So I think even if they did hit that, people would.
That's fine. I want them to play the deck. I don't want the deck to die. I just don't think the Salvage Brainstorm needs to be part of it. Like when I want a deck to be hit, it's not that I want the deck to die. I don't want them to go away completely. I believe that people should be able to play the deck they want and still have it be reasonably competitive. So a good ban for me would be one that neuters it. Like the Kasumi ban has neutered the deck, and if anything else were to be banned, it would be like Zab was talking about, an unfair combo that punishes people for playing well, which is like, well, it's like not fun to play against basically. And as for Sunshine, like I would rather hit something that just unnecessarily boosts consistency rather than something that is integral to the to how any given deck functions, like the 1-0 Hamazura, what's her name? Hanamaru.
Well, that card isn't that popular in topping lists.
Sure, but it's very, very good
Japan
in there. It's very, very good, is my point. Like, I wouldn't want to hit a card that is good and integral.
Well, I think if everyone were playing it, you could probably justify hitting it. I think, like, aforementioned, that, like, restrictions on probably the 1-0 Dia and/or Brainstorm maybe is probably fine. Or
Which
possibly
1-0 Dia?
what's it? The Hanamaru? Does Zab, everyone plays that card, right? I'm pretty sure. The Hanamaru that, like, pay 1 rest, clock top, salvage level 1 or lower.
Not everyone.
In Japan?
But
Japan plays it. Japan plays it.
Yeah, Japan plays it, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. You could hit that,
Yeah, but,
possibly.
well, I'm looking at lists right now and it's not on every list.
I just don't
the Dia,
want to hit
Dia or the Mari are in every list.
Sure.
And we're talking about the Dia that's come into play 6-5 and come into play on reverse. You can pay 1 rest, 1 search. Like the thing.
The same as the
Yes.
Yuko and
Yeah.
Hina Logic.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Apart from that, you could hit the double early play stuff again, but
That's effectively banning it, right?
How would you
well,
do
I mean,
that? Like,
you could restrict
like-
numbers on some cards. Like
yeah,
you restrict
you
numbers on
restrict-
Chica, I
restrict
guess,
Yo to two.
or Yo. Yeah,
No, you restrict Yo to 2. That's what you would do to hit.
sure.
But I don't think
that doesn't sound very.
I do
I'd
not
feel
think
really
that's
bad if that
It
happened.
still works.
fair.
Like, I'd still play the deck, and I think a lot of people still would actually.
Yeah, it would still be fine, but I think
Uh,
that's like an unnecessary hit. Like,
It would
That's
really
just
suck.
mean.
I think. I
why
don't
would you
know.
do that?
It would be. It just
That
wouldn't feel
makes
that
standby
good.
a lot worse.
It would just feel a lot worse to play the deck. I think if that happened.
Anyway, I personally don't think you need to hit Love Live Sunshine. I don't think that it's fundamentally like broken or unfair or anything right now, because there's a fair bit of counterplay to it at all points of the game. Like, it does on reverse things, it does level 3 EP things, and I don't think anything's unfair except for possibly manipulation of the top deck with the 1-0 Mari, which I presume is the rationale behind some people on Twitter asking for it to be banned, because like you can confirm a burn for 2 or burn for 3 really easily, and therefore get a costless finisher, and that's quote-unquote broken. But I don't think that's too unfair, because you still go in with all this overhead, you still have a great chance of missing. Does anyone else have any thoughts on possible bans for it? No? Okay.
Nothing
That's
that
fine.
comes
The
to mind.
most,
We can talk about Hina Logi then.
the
'cause
most
that,
overpowered card in Love Live Sunshine is really the early play, in my opinion. Which, as
Yeah.
you said, I don't think you can really reasonably hit it. So
It just
I'll just leave it alone.
like if you hit it, the deck feels awful. Like just feels significantly worse to play. I don't know if like
playing the deck for the level 3, so if you hit that, then well,
yeah.
well,
What are
you're
you
playing
gonna
it
play
for the
now?
ability to just scoop out level 3s everywhere.
Yes. And you know,
I thought people
getting
played it for
extra
items.
damage at level 2. Or
Yeah,
just starting to
actually,
get extra
Ian
damage.
is right. People are playing it for idols.
Huh. But it's also doing very well.
Alright.
You know, if you look at the stats, it has like some like ridiculous.
Well, it's a good
Conversion.
deck.
It doesn't have ridiculous conversion, but it has above average conversion, which is enough to say that it's like a very good deck, and I agree with that.
Sure.
All right. What about Hina Logi? That's a deck that has seen a lot of buzz.
Isn't there like actually there are two people that like this deck. Okay. So I guess those can talk about it first, because I think hitting Hina Logi would be a joke.
Like, I was on the just as an aside, one of the Bushy Road streams directly after the ban list. I was there to collect information and stuff for the peons over at Global, and the Nico chat was filled with a bunch of people complaining about how Hina Logi didn't get any hits. So I just typed "America is not break" a few times and left the chat because I was just sick of seeing it. It's a really irritating deck to play against if you aren't prepared to get for it. I'll give it that. But I'm sure some people here have thoughts about why it should be banned. I mean, obviously we know what should be banned. We should be hitting the principal, the Merlin guy, because he's the root of all evil. He's what creates this stupid game situation. Sorry?
Merlin in Hina Logic a go.
Yeah.
Yes,
It
but
looks
she
like
looks
Merlin.
like that's just I don't know, man. People just call it that.
I mean, maybe it's a male with boobies, but I thought it was a woman.
I think
It's just the hair. It's just the hair. I think she's
I call it Merlin for fairly obvious reasons.
So you just called the character he. So I thought I was
I
mistaken.
know. Okay, sure, but I know nothing about Hina Logi. I'm calling it Merlin
What a
because,
secondary.
and I'm using he because Merlin is a male. So
Okay,
that is why I'm saying he.
that's cleared up.
I'm not trying to assume gender. That's just what I.
This is a political
Anyway.
Well, I think Zab and Ian have the highest opinion of Hina Logi of all of us.
Yeah.
If and Mr. Hentai Lover 69. If you can elaborate on if you think it deserved a restriction or not.
Personally, I just think that Hina Logi's principle is just a really overstat card. And when Hina Logic
Which
does
part?
not
Which
get
part?
countered.
Which part? Sorry.
Just the fact that you can search for free every time you trans. So like
So
you need
you're
4 stock for
okay.
stock and 2 cards or something for a full board of early plays.
Right.
That's pretty overspec in my opinion.
But I think the deck sucks if that card doesn't exist. I think the deck's unplayable if that card doesn't exist.
I agree.
Yeah.
But
the way they
that's-
design trance kind of forces a card like that to exist. Maybe if you want it to be any good.
I mean,
Well, or
if you have
need
it
to
once per turn, you
that-
can do like 2 early plays in a turn. It's like okay.
Yeah,
Doesn't
but
change
they don't
decks.
do erratas.
But they're not going to do errata. They
No,
could.
like
Yeah, erratas don't exist. Yeah.
Oh, it's in the Yu-Gi-Oh!
Just, like,
Takarada.
ban it and release a PR that does the same thing.
Wow, nice.
That sounds like way more
We
trouble.
are Konami now.
if they just
Dark Strike move.
Say again?
And
Sorry. Zabo saying something?
Oh, don't worry. But well, I guess I'll take this opportunity to talk. Well, so I guess we all everyone who was for Hina Logic getting banned can agree that Yuko getting a bunch of markers and creating a deck where you can't really plausibly get any damage through is what made Hina Logic good, right?
I mean, that's
yeah.
that
That's
that is
the
is-
deck.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, that's why it's
Yeah,
strong.
as in we're not looking at stuff like Nina swinging at like 4/4/5 something at you every turn, or
No,
Well,
no,
Nina
no.
is just bad. Nina is just bad. Leon
I
is
don't think
okay.
Nina's particularly good.
Right. It's the marker compression. Okay.
Yeah. So, if you look at what's being played in Japan right now, there's decks that play early plays a bunch, like Yuko, Monogatari playing, what's that card again? Combo, Rewrite Guardian, Love Life Sunshine. Like Konosuba, I think Miku as well. Bang Dream with Kasumi, where you don't play any early players, or when you do, they're not there to war. They're just there for like card value or something like that. Wait,
Okay.
here we are.
Konosuba isn't playing multiple
So when
early plays. They're just playing
Oh,
like
I
the
think-
Aqua, right?
They're not right.
No, they
think
play
they
the Mega Man. Pretty sure they do.
No, they just play Aqua.
They just play Aqua. Yeah,
The Japanese builds play Aqua, yeah.
yeah they don't.
The Japanese builds. Yeah. Wait, I'll just send this image, just like kind of reminder of what Japan is playing set wise.
Mm.
So Miku doesn't
Where most decks.
Wait. I
early
mean,
play
wait a
a
second.
lot, I think.
There's a better.
Monogatari also doesn't double early play the Kambaro, I think. But I'm also not sure how Japanese
One
people
sec.
play Monogatari.
Number 14/5 that can't be counted, right?
Yeah, to like beat other early plays probably, and to, like it also outs Yuko.
Stuff like that. But
Yeah. What's the top right thing? Like
The top right?
yeah,
It's
the-
new. It means new.
new and upcoming, people are experimenting with these
Okay.
sets. With,
Was this
with
trios?
most other decks,
What I just linked, or is
with
it
most of the
someone
decks playing early plays, I don't think that not outing the early play will directly cause you to lose. As in, obviously, you do want to get rid of the early play, but even if you don't, you still have opportunities to deal damage. You can catch up at level 3. Whereas Hina Logic isn't quite like that, which means that you do have to play stuff that counters early plays, be it early play bombs, bounces.
Yeah,
Right.
but I
But that
just
gets
don't see
massive.
why it's problematic, right? People in Magic side
Sorry.
for
You cut out for a second there, Chris.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah. Well, I actually just stopped talking because I thought Ken wanted to say something.
Sure.
Yeah, I guess I'll finish off then. Yeah, so now I have. If you go to the tournament in Japan, now you're going to have to face 2 different types of decks. That is, the types that play early plays and types that don't. And in order to do well against the types that do play early plays, you have to play early play counters, right? Bounces, run over, bombs, etc. But then those cards become quite useless against the other matchups. It's like, say, Rewrite Guardian. I think Japan's playing 3 copies of the early play counter bomb.
Yeah, that's fine.
That card's,
But,
that card's pretty useless against, say, Bank Dream, on the other hand, which forces you to play a bunch of useless cards. And I don't think that's very good in terms
there's
of
nothing
meta.
wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that in terms of meta. That's literally what the term metagaming means. You're playing cards which are bad in one matchup.
You can have a few bad cards, but then ties back into why I think Bank Dream is a good set, but you have cards in certain other sets which are actually not useless and you don't have to face early players, such as Anti-Change Bomb, where you give and in your bin.
I mean, you could just like play a deck where the cards that deal with early plays don't really impact the deck negatively for other matchups, I guess. Like, for example, like Bang Dream, the Himari Bomb, this other stuff, to Love Root, the bounce events is just generally good. Or ReZero has like easy access to the anti-change bomb because of the ditch bond with the brainstorm, and you also have like the stun brainstorm. And if the Yukus get stunned, they don't really get out of control, and then you can remove them with Reinhardt or whatever.
If you want to make
and Nanoha,
I don't think any change counter is really.
Is it not?
Change counter. I think Yuko's just gonna side you forever until they hit level 3, and then just start from there.
It depends on what you field, right? So
But
it would depend on what you feel
damage
with the counter.
Yeah,
I think.
Like if you field level 3s yourself, then Yuko won't do any damage.
Yeah, sure, but at the same time, they can mill out their deck, and then you can get to a point where you don't really take any damage either, right?
Well, how many turns? Well, I guess it depends on how many turns you think the Yuko markers will give you. As far as like,
If the opponent sides my early plays, I'm just attacking. And then if I hit level 3, I just play Reinhardt and out them or whatever. Like in the 2-0.
I'll just play Reinhardt. It's exclusively a ReZero thing, though.
Yeah, sure. I was talking about, like, because I mentioned it, like anti-change counter in general. If it forces them to like side attack on multiple lanes, that's already a pretty big damage swing, because Yuko doesn't immediately give you good compression. It takes a while to get going.
Would be okay, but they have their
I
own.
think one turn of side attacking is to get you enough compression off the markers. You can. I think you side attack one turn and then allow your deck and just start fronting.
Okay, look,
And you
the
also
point
have that level 0
is,
which clocks you for 1.
the actual point here is, Hina Logic is not represented enough for you to make an enormous change to the deck unless you have a glaring weakness to it. That's the idea of metagaming. You have to balance your deck, so if there's a deck that you just can't beat, you have to either cut your losses or you have to warp your deck. It's that simple. And that is partially your fault for playing that deck.
And people just hate
very
people just hate playing against it, right? That's the impression I get.
But what's a representation of? That's not a very big picture.
The representation.
Hina Logic is not.
It's
Hina Logic.
6%.
Hina Logic is pretty low. Yeah, it's like pretty low. It's like sub 5%.
It's like 5 to 6%.
It's like almost 5%. And then its conversion rate. Then its conversion rates are even worse.
So concerned about conversion because I'm looking at how
You should be concerned about conversion, though. Like, conversion is what matters. You should be playing the deck. If you're a skilled player, you should be playing a deck that beats other skilled players' choices. So conversion is super important. And because of that, I'd rather play something that beats, like, well, I don't think anything beats Bang Dream pre-thing, except get like 50-50s against it. But I'd rather play something that beats Bang Dream or Love Live Sunshine than something that beats Hina Logic, if I had to go out my way. Because Hina Logic.
Well, I mean, sorry, you could talk about conversion there, but I mean, those two sets are both more represented than Hina Logic. So even if you didn't look at conversion there, like you could say exactly the same thing.
Okay, sure. Let's talk about like Saikano then. Because, well, is Saikano the one I'm thinking of? The one with reasonably good conversion?
For some reason or another. Which I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah,
sure.
like, yeah, so Saikano
Is
had
there a
good
bigger image for
conversion in
this?
comparison. And what's the third one? What's the third one in the...
That's Love Live Sunshine.
Wasn't it
Yeah.
Madoka?
whatever.
No, it wasn't Madoka.
The third one from the right is Love Live
So-
Sunshine. That's near standard.
So a deck like I'd rather be good against something like Saikano or look, Little Busters is the thing I have to use, but I actually don't think that the Little Busters decks Japan plays are actually good. Like I don't think they're good. I'd rather be good against Saikano than against Hina Logic because it has much better conversion. Because you want to be good against what the good players are playing, not what randos and Swiss are playing. That's like basic tournament strategy.
It's also just not.
I understand the
playing it,
tournament
seems
part,
like.
but the difference between Saikano and Hina Logic is that you don't have to warp your deck to do well against Saikano.
Well, yes, you do. You just don't play on reverse combos.
Well, so if this warping effect were prominent, you probably wouldn't the conversion rate be higher
Yeah,
for
that's
like
the thing.
other sets? Not Bang Dream, right? But like for other series.
You
like,
talked about how Rewrite is now playing 3 anti-change bombs. Rewrite is not even on the list of the top whatevers.
I'm just saying Rewrite is an example of a set that has to warp itself into playing cards that are useless in some matchup.
The thing that's happened is Rewrite is not played anymore. That's what's happened. And that's fine. That's what metagames do. Metagames change. And having to warp something because of one deck is honestly fine. Like, it's not even where every deck that can't answer Hina Logic goes away completely. Like, Love Live Sunshine is quite bad against Hina Logic in the head-to-head. And yet, it's got the best conversion rate out of any deck in the format. And that's not just...
Love Live Sunshine's idea is that you can play faster against decks that want to play slow games.
Obviously,
well, we kind of have to.
But it's also not good at level 2. Like, it doesn't retain a level 2 board against a bunch of Yukos.
You also pay but
especially because it
you're
doesn't
doing
have
enough damage that Yuko can't speed up the game to that point, right?
Okay, sure,
Yeah.
whatever. But
Slow
the
down.
point is...
Yeah.
Okay, sure. But the point is, if all these decks that are topping well have answers and are good against the rest of the field, like they're not only good against, say, Hina Logic, then why is Hina Logic a problem? It's not a
Say that
problem.
again?
That's the thing.
What you're saying? It cut off. Say that again.
Sure. So if like Sunshine, which is a deck that apparently has answers, Bang Dream, a deck that can anti-compress and has a bunch of answers.
Gochusa
if all
is like
these-
the second, right? The second thing
Yeah.
with
Yes.
here, Gochusa is good conversion, and Gochusa doesn't run like a bunch of answers against Hina Logic.
Oh, it has the anti-change counter, but obviously they can slide that.
They actually don't.
They
use
moved to
that.
Kokachino
So-
because right now they want to burst damage. Yeah. But if all these
So
decks
doing
that have
1-1 and hitting 6. How much is it? 17k?
yeah, 17.
Yeah.
The logic is
They run
also
over
pretty
the
fucking good.
Yukos.
Yeah. That
Yeah, well,
definitely
more
a
if they
reason
have
to play
supports.
Gochusa.
Either way, if these decks are all the ones that are topping, and Hina Logic is like 5% is you guys are dismissing it, but 5% is actually a pretty decent percentage of the metagame. It's 1/20th. And that means you can expect to play against it like once every couple tournaments or whatever, and more of the conversion rate's high. But because it's still nowhere near the topping, like the top decks representation, why is Hina Logic a problem? Bans should only happen when there's an obvious problem. That's my perspective on it.
Well, Zab is saying that these other decks are having trouble adapting to Hina Logic.
Yeah, who cares about those other decks? Are we going to argue that because Kanan is not
Pretty much
represented, we have to hit
right?
everything?
Wait, did you say
No, I
something?
don't think you have to hit everything. But particularly out of all the out of the somewhat represented decks, creates a situation where you can't win unless you do something about it. Every other deck does not actually do that.
There's nothing wrong with that. That's how decks work in some metagames. Like, every other TCG has decks that are like that.
How do you feel about anti-heal and anti-salvage? Some decks get
I
wrecked
think
by that.
anti-heal nor anti-salvage actually make you unable to win games. it makes it difficult for you. But
I think certain decks
Wait,
can't win if the
well-
opponent has anti-heal.
as well as Hina Logic is not anti-heal and anti-change were maybe try a different deck. Whereas I don't believe Hina Logic was actually. That is, I don't think for sure wanted to say you guys should play more anti-change bombs in your deck. The idea behind printing those cards was completely different.
I actually disagree. I think that Bushi voters. Go on, Yui. Okay. I think that.
I'm just trying.
I think that.
Okay, so,
Go.
sorry. I respect Ken's view on the deck. It gets into positions where you as the opponent feel like you can't win. But very recently we found out that like you always want to push some damage, but against Hina Logic, if you put them to 1/6, they actually just cannot win the game. The deck sucks dick. With all its resources still, the deck is almost unplayable. If you just put them to 1/6 for a turn and they don't cancel, they actually just, the deck sucks. And there is a way to play around the deck very easily for every single deck. Every deck can put a deck to 1/6, right? It's just people choose not to because they want to do more damage.
Yeah, true. Yeah. All right.
That's
I mean,
my
a
view.
similar thing is true for.
There is counterplay in the playing stage of it. Like when you play the game, yes, you can hit your opponent to 1/6. So it somewhat boils down to luck, as in if your opponent cancels or doesn't cancel in certain way, if you get a trigger where you where you didn't want to.
Yeah.
Like
When
before,
what
before
you
you
saying,
Say the
you
same
don't
thing
take that
about
risk.
Sunshine. You can say
Don't
the same
take that
thing
risk
about
as well.
Sunshine.
Oh, the thing about Sunshine though is that it's better.
can
Because
you?
it has better alternate plays, right? In the event that
You can't put the recoin clock. You can't put the recoin clock.
of course not, but you have other cards you can play that are
You can
probably
say-
notably
No,
better.
no,
It's like
you can say that about the Japanese builds of Sunshine, though. You can't say it about Two Soul Sunshine. You can say it about the other Japanese builds.
no, oh well,
Yes, you can.
you're not up to date on my deck, but
I don't care about your deck, but the Japanese build, I definitely talk about it.
I'm talking
like
about Two Soul
one card.
Sunshine. Wait. So wait, are you saying that the Japanese builds to Sunshine don't have alternate game plan cards?
It's much worse.
I mean, they have
were
Mari,
just
right?
that
They
one
still
thing.
run Mari. They'll still run 1/0 Dia. Those are the cards that you play.
Okay, sure, but they're just pinging for like 1 or whatever, and then they get hit to 2/5. I'm like,
I mean, it's
that's
just
not good.
it's better than what Hinologi has. Is what I'm saying.
That's
Especially
not saying much. See, that's the thing. Hinologi is the typical example of a high risk, high reward deck when it comes to metagaming. You will completely crush the early game because opponents will be completely helpless against your giant market Yukos. But then when you get to play against someone who has either text for the matchup, or who knows how to play against it, or all of that, you fall apart very quickly. Like if you play against, say, some guy in the 3-0 bracket playing Talovru, and you sit down and you laugh at him because, haha, Talovru 2016 deck, no free meal, what are you gonna do? And then they wormhole your Yukos, you are screwed. Like you can't do shit in that position. If you play against someone like a rewrite deck which is actually running the 3 anti-change bombs, and then they triple anti-change your things, bottom deck it all, and now you're forced to be attacking with like 1/0s, and you hit them to like 3-2. But now they're rewrite Guardian, so they're going to heal down to 3-0, and then you're going to die because Shizuru is a much better finisher. Like, if you come across that sort of scenario, you're going to lose. And that's something you have to live with as a Hina Logi player. I don't think it's a simple choice to just take Hina Logi to a tournament. Like, yes, if you play against an unprepared field, they'll win. Like, if you look at the recent... there was one in California where a good friend of mine won with Hina Logi. Like, good on him. But if you play against a field which knows that Hina Logi exists, then they can play around it. They can tech for it. Like that's why alchemists took. Oh my god! Oh god! You right? Like alchemists took one tournament, and then people learned to play against it, and then it sucked. And I think we're seeing the same effect here. A little bit more pronounced because Hina Logi is obviously much better than alchemists, but people are learning to play against it, and people deciding that it's not worth playing against all these people running a billion anti-change bombs, a whole bunch of wind counters, because that's something we haven't actually explicitly said. when Hina Logi's game plan is answered, it is in a very bad position. Like when other decks' game plan is answered, I think we did actually mention this. When an EP is played, only to wall as Yuko is, and you have no other recourse, answering that early play is going to be a massive problem. Obviously, Principle helps a bit with that, but it still leaves the fact that you're left with what 3-4 cards in hand, and it kind of
Well,
isn't
the
a good
problem
place
with
to
Hina
be.
Logic specifically is that it has no other game plan to speak of.
Yeah,
It actually
you don't have.
doesn't have anything.
Well, you have like Hail Mary finishes if you really want
You
them.
don't.
Well, you can run
okay,
the
sure.
pants. People run
The
the
thing
pants,
is, you
right?
can run them. Yeah, like you can run the because you're running empty climaxes.
I'm
Yeah,
not sure if the deck has space to actually like run any finishes.
you can
like
make
that.
space though. That's the thing. Like you can do this, but you wouldn't because you're sacrificing all of this to get a consistent high power game plan. Anyway, the fact of the matter is, I expect Hina Logi representation to spike briefly and then to drop down again. It's going to spike because it wasn't banned and people think it should be banned, but then it's going to drop when people figure out that they need to tech for it and they play against it, and then they win with Hina Logi techs in their deck list.
And then it'll get a spike again when people cut the text again.
Yeah, that's what a metagame is. Metagames ebb and tide, and that ebb and flow, and that's great. Like decks should cycle in and out of being viable. It shouldn't just be one deck all the time. That's not actually healthy game. All right, now I think unless anyone has anything else they want to talk about, like does anyone want to advocate
I
the
just
ban
want to say,
Saikano?
I just want to say that the entire ban list can come off in my eyes.
I don't know
Before
about
we
that.
completely move off Hina Logic,
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, go on.
Darling in the Franks a reason for Hina Logic's be hit. Set design
Okay,
wise.
you're gonna have you're gonna have to explain that to me
You're
because
gonna,
to hit Hina Logic
Yeah.
if they don't.
We'll just
Big
explain the connection further. So
So, well, obviously they're both sets based on level 2 transfusion. Is it fusion?
trance. We'll go
whatever.
trance. Doesn't matter.
Cool, trans effects. And for the moment, we haven't seen any cards resembling the Principal or Merlin in Darling in the Franks. He did have that in mind for Hina Logic to also not get banned.
So what you're saying is, if people play Darling and people decide to tech against Darling, the splash effect of that is that Hina Logi gets worse naturally. Is that what you're saying?
I think he's saying if there's 2 cards that exist that are so broken that search all cards on trans, would you still ban one card?
Oh, I would ban both. I don't think that's necessarily a reason. Like, I understand R&D, or like the development team works usually at least half a year in advance. But the Yuko Hina Logi deck has been a thing for a while now, and emergency changes very clearly have happened in the past. So I think I understand the idea of there being a established power level and therefore no need to ban. But I think if a card is as egregious as you say, and to an extent I agree, I think that a card that enables this sort of silly nonsense is egregious. If that card exists, it should just be banned without any other consideration, and further cards with similar application need to either have a weakened context, so you need to either make all the trances around it really bad, or you need to not print that card the same way. Like once per turn, like you said, would be a good change. So I think I get what you're coming at, but I don't think that's a reason not to ban a card. Could be a reason to ban a card in some games, but I don't know about here.
Yeah, it's understandable. Well, I don't actually completely believe that was something I found online being said by multiple people.
Right.
So
okay, so can I just come out and say it and say that that's dumb?
I'm kind of just not expecting that card to get printed at all in Darling, so.
Yeah,
well, actually,
I really don't think
would
they will.
you call it inferior Hina Logic at that stage, or do you find a reason to play Darling in the Franks over Hina
because
Logic?
you like Darling in the Franks, right?
I
Okay.
actually think that
Other than like the actual content.
if they don't print it, because I think the principal or whatever his or her name is so defining, I think that Darling in the Franxx isn't even the same conversation. Like you can't describe them as the same in the same bracket. I'd rather describe Gurren Lagann.
Yeah,
though,
it'd be
and-
more akin to, I was about to say, it's even more akin to Gurren Lagann than it is to Hina Logic.
Because Darling also got like decent finisher-ish cards. Like the stress area is burned too.
Yeah, but you know what? It's interesting because that's an interesting design because you want to trance at level 3, right? Because you don't want to risk the card dying, but then you also want to be able to burn for.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's interesting. I think. Anyway, I think we. Does anyone else have anything to say about the ban? Oh, I have one thing to say about the ban list before we go.
Cyril's OP.
Thanks. No, thanks as always to Josh Audi Benitez.
Oh,
We
you're right.
completely forgot
Uh,
to acknowledge him early on, but there, dude. Thank you as always for making these lists. They're really pretty and cool and something Australia rep. Anyway, that's what I've got to say. Anyone else want to comment on why Action Bastard is still on the list?
so
That again?
clearly, it's too
Mhm.
strong. The ones that
Yeah.
the Shinchan card.
I think
Yeah,
if you
actually,
put the card off the list, it's just really hard to get 5 copies of it. 4 copies of it.
Where do you
Speak
get
for
that card?
yourself, dude. Speak for yourself.
You got it from like a toy set, I think, right?
Yeah,
No,
I've
no,
got.
no. I actually have one. Why the
Yeah.
fuck is Amo Swing on the list when Umiuri exists? That makes no sense whatsoever.
Because Emo Swing is a stock out, obviously.
Okay, well, I guess we're
Valid.
getting into memes now, but
All right. So let's
There's
let's
another
jump.
part to
It's a
this
legitimate
cast.
complaint, right?
All right. We all have like little personal tier lists that we did before the cast, and all of them have like little quirks, I guess is the way we put it. Some of them are going to be very similar, some of them are going to be very different from others. I think we can just go through each one and kind of point out things that we think might be different to our list or interesting in general. So the first one we've got here is Cele or celednb. Now the things that I think the things people might have objection to, if you have an objection, please speak. Like this is a group thing for a reason.
By
the
the way,
things I can see.
the notes are this is for Hina Logic, and Nanoha is this is for Nano.
Sure. So the things I can see people immediately taking an issue with. I know that Yue really likes Vivid Strike, and I know that Hinologi being in B, like even I wouldn't put Hinologi in B. I think it's an A tier deck because of how powerful it can be. And I'm interested in why you specify the Capo newspaper when it has no real. Let's go one at a time. Let's talk about Vivid Strike first.
I mean, I've kind of said it here. I think Vivid Strike can be grouped with Hina Logic in that if the meta is prepared for it, the decks just suck. Like they're actually bad decks. So because I think the meta is basically prepared for it right now, I think they're in B. But if you're like in a meta where these decks aren't easily answered, they are in A.
See, I'm not sure the meta's prepared for it. Like, Hinologi is not doing much in terms of rep. And aside from some people, warping their deck to play too many anti-change bombs, and I guess your personal metagame being prepared for it.
For example, like Tulavru wins, Milky Holmes wins, Attack on Titan probably wins.
You just listed 3 decks. You listed 3 decks that like don't exist.
I'm just going down the thing here.
Sure, but those 3 decks don't really exist.
Gojusa is like kind of dead in the water. Though they can just use their finish and so win. Sunshine is pretty flip worthy, I guess. Like could go either way. Madoka also doesn't run. Madoka is like one anti-change bomb, or it can run multiple. I just think
Howling Kyoko, dude. The Howling Kyoko theme deck.
Yeah. Diva is probably just dead against Hina Logic. And I guess by extension Vivid Strike, though Diva can play anti-change bombs, but I don't see many lists running them. Konosuba. The Japanese lists play 2 anti-change bombs. I'm not like the list I have here. The Magic with 3-stun one wouldn't play anti-change bombs. But like triple Megamin can kill one of them. Can it? No, it actually can't kill Hina Logic. It can only kill like one with its. Well,
That's,
the point is.
The point
Can't
is
kill Hina
you
Logic, right?
like
-4K.
you can minus 4K on each of them, on one of them, and then you can force a counter on a second, I guess. I don't know if it counters. Anyway, you've listed like all your A tier decks, and aside from 3 decks that have basically, well, Attack on Titan has rep, but Tierlist and Milky Holmes have no rep. Aside from those, and Love Live Sunshine,
Lover's
which is
been
like
going up a
second
bit
best
though,
deck in
right?
format, everything else just kind of loses to it, right?
What are you
ReZero
talking
wins.
about?
Like
Okay,
ReZero,
sure.
ReZero, like Vivid Strike actually can't win against ReZero. It's
Sure.
impossible.
I don't want to delve too much into matchups, even if they're what make up your list, but
Yeah.
what it seems to me is that Vivid Strike does well against a lot of these decks. And by extension, that means Hina Logic does well against a lot of them. Certainly, like
Well, the thing about Vivid
Like,
Strike versus Hina Logic, right? Vivid Strike is way more dependent on the combo, on an on-reverse combo than Hina Logic is, because Vivid Strike has to be built in a way where you have to run this on-reverse combo that has an established power level, whereas Hina Logic gets its advantage from other places, doesn't necessarily need to get the reverse with the Yuko. Right?
I mean, it prefers to, but like A+
It's
and
not,
triggers and all that.
Sure, yeah. There's a reason why those lists run doors. And
Yeah.
it has the freedom to be built that way. Whereas Vivid, like, it's way easier to stop Vivid from doing anything, doing its game plan. Which is why
Sure, but
Railgun did
here's-
so well in last year's WGB meta. Because he just played against a lot of Vivid Strike and some random decks. But basically he dumpstered all of the Vivid Strike players because he had Dragon Strike, and Vivid Strike can't do anything against that. But like you could see, there are several decks in his A tier that can rebuff Vivid Strike's level 1 combo. And I think that is another way to like beat Vivid Strike.
I don't have Little Busters in A tier, like the Twins deck, because I already have Little Busters here, but Twins also completely wrecks Hina Logic, but doesn't wreck Vivid Strike, which is, I guess, one distinction.
I mean,
you
that's
guys are
fair.
laughing, but like decks like these actually exist. And Tom brought up Railgun, which isn't in my list, but Railgun is actually really popular in Europe. I'm not sure how it is in America and Australia.
Sure. Sure. All right. So, is there a reason you haven't got Hina Logic in A tier, like specifically, or do you think it's just too easily beaten?
Yeah, the latter.
Dang.
Okay.
Just going down the line.
I think like if the,
do you
the
think
meta
Hina Logic
allows-
is a good deck? Yes or no?
Well, yeah, yes and no.
Truth has come.
It's good if the meta isn't prepared for it. It's bad if it is. Simple as that.
Sure, that's fair enough. Now, I guess something that we should really talk about, because a lot of people here talk in the same communities, and there's sort of something established there, but not everyone subscribes to the same doctrines. Little Busters in S tier, 2-Soul YGB, a deck with no tops, a deck very few people have. Why is it S tier?
I'm not even sure.
I
I actually have it italicized because I'm not sure if it's S tier. So I don't know.
Well, I'll just talk about what I put in S tier, since we're on my list still, I guess. The S tier decks I have are just decks that, if they run well, they're basically unbeatable.
I mean, there are a lot of decks here that are like that.
Well, no, but like these two decks are actually obscene. If they draw the level 1 combo and do their stuff that they're supposed to do, you actually just can't win normal games against these.
Well, I'd argue that like 2-Soul YGB would be bad against Hina Logic. Like they just side your level 2s.
Well, it kind of depends on who sets up first. Like if they
No. Even if you set up first, like unless they front you.
They can't
What are you gonna do?
they can't heal down again. So every damage you do is basically permanent.
Well, the idea is that they don't take damage, right?
But the Yuko doesn't compress that fast. They can side the first,
sure.
like they can triple
Like-
side, but then they're still in a deck that's not compressed. They'll still take hits, and then they just die. The level 3
So,
Rin, the
I guess-
Cupcake Burn one is also big. Well, actually, no, against Yuko it's not big enough. There was
It's
against
really
Sancho.
terrible against Yuko. You can't
Yeah.
do much against it.
Yeah.
Look, I also have Little Busters in my S tier, and my reasoning is I do not believe this deck has a losing matchup. At worst, it'll be a 50-50, and most decks it loses, most matchups it loses are to itself. And
Yeah.
you can say the same for a lot of decks. Now, the thing is, even though it's 50-50 against a lot of decks, like, it's slightly advantaged against decks that rely on a lot of heals. It can be teched to beat decks that rely on gates. Like, for example, if you played a 1/1 Kyosuke and you verse 8-gate Hina Logic, then, well, I've got some bad
yeah.
news for you. Like,
I guess the
Yuko
good
can't
way-
salvage, and yeah, like
Aw.
I guess a different way to like put it is if you think everybody else in a tournament is really good, or if you're like playing top cut and you could switch decks, these decks have like the most powerful possibilities in terms of what they can do.
yeah, I just don't think a deck that has no clear losing matchup and has some very advantaged matchups, by definition, is minimum A tier. And I also think that right now, Little Busters, being a non-reverse aggro 2-soul cantripping climax, as well as having a very powerful level 0 suite, and a surprisingly powerful level 2 suite, like it fights for field without being massive, that's something people are both not prepared for, and even if they were prepared for it, they still just lose sometimes because your natural game plan to win the damage race via money counters and just kind of chipping away and stopping them from healing is really, really powerful. Not caring about your opponent's advantage is also really powerful, and if you wanted to, you can play like anti-salvage, and if you do, any deck that runs 8 gates, or any deck that wants to salvage like the Yuko 1-0, wait, Yuko 1-0 salvage, right?
No, it's search.
No,
Just to make
such.
sure. Okay, never mind. So that one will still go off, but the 8 gates will do nothing. And that's something that really can impact a deck that chooses to run 8 empty gates. And I think that's really powerful. Now, Rewrite's a bit weird.
Does Zab have anything to say about Little Busters? You put it in B tier.
Oh, I mean,
I actually
he's
don't
referring
know
to
what
twins,
you
right?
guys play exactly for Little Busters,
Oh, okay.
but I'm not a fan, so.
Dude,
Yeah,
but Little
he's-
Busters, like,
is
Twins,
your
they have 100
is your tiering based on what you've seen Japan run, basically?
Partly that, partly what I play against, but
I
as you
see.
said, a lot of what I play in Sydney is probably Japan.
Okay.
I mean, the decks that are played in Sydney, I'm fairly sure will be. There are a couple 2-soul players. I think there's like one in Canberra or something. And I know people have the 2 souls, they just don't want to play the deck because it's viewed as like a Saki deck. And a lot of people are going to be playing twins because I don't know, it feels good to play or something.
Is that the case? Do you see a lot of twins?
At least 2 people play twins in across multiple tournaments, not recently.
All right. Is
Well,
it
one of them's like gone off to a different country, but yeah.
Is it
it's more
twins that you?
represented than
Okay, I gotcha. Do you see anything else besides twins? Like, do you? I think I saw some weird standby stuff coming out that was like on launch. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it wasn't twins and it wasn't like traditional.
No,
RGB
that
2-soul.
deck was standby into the 1/1 Rin anti-salvage, and like it was a really bad standby deck. Like it standbyed into mediocre cards, didn't run the good standby targets. It ran like the 2/2 anti-front with no stock gen. It ran the 1/1 Rin for a 1/5 boost to center and no good level 1s to take advantage of it. It ran the ones who could at a 2 of, so like it wasn't even leveraging the standby very well. It was just not a good deck. I have to say that, like, very frankly.
Sure.
I don't think that's a very good deck. So
well, I don't know. It's a pretty unproven deck, for sure. It's hard to.
which one?
LB.
LB?
LB, yeah.
Yeah, because, like,
Yeah.
there's no representation.
It's just hard
So-
to really say much. Like, it's nice to have the theory, but obviously we don't have any idea as to how it would play out in an actual metagame.
Well, I mean, it doesn't play out in an actual metagame due to access reasons, and that's part of metagames. Like, if you take Magic, there are decks like Legacy Lands, which are overwhelmingly powerful.
But there's still quite a few players who play Legacy Lands, right?
Now there are, but that's only because it took out, like, eventually it got to the point where people flying to multiple tournaments would play this deck. And it was
Right.
like Magic's a bit different because there's a lot more certainty in matchups. But anyway, yeah, look, I totally understand if people are skeptical because they've never seen this deck, or when they played it, it's backfired, or when it's done nothing a few times. But based on what I've played, I'm pretty confident that this deck is at least A tier, if not S tier. And I've personally put it in S tier. Segue Magic, for the reasons I've already explained above. I think that it doesn't have any terrible losing matchups, and that is already a really, really significant strength for the deck.
Okay. What about another deck? Well, we could talk about another deck that you said earlier has no losing matchups, which is Bang Dream. Where do we think Bang Dream lands?
After the ban list,
Yeah,
I've got it in A tier.
post ban list.
Like, I think that it's lost a couple of its unfair facets, but right now it does exactly the same things it always did. It's going to double or triple Kasumi combo. It's going to use its powerful tech cards to get ahead, like Himari, the stock swap nonsense, and then it's going to finish up with one of several good top ends. I think it's a solid A tier deck that can play solitaire sometimes, and when it's not playing solitaire, it's playing pretty good cards.
Okay. What about Celed? What do you think about Bang Dream?
I have no idea what to think about it, honestly. I've put it in A tentatively, and it likely will stay in A. I thought about putting it to B for a second, because I don't see like a really, really strong deck right now, but there probably is some combination of cards that's still good. And like, even with the PR2-1, the deck still, like, it's a lot worse, but still like playable. I just see it as a deck that's still going to be played a bunch, and people will experiment with different options and likely just converge on the old stuff again. Because a lot of the other stuff just isn't consistent. Like the new Kokoro combo, for example. It's just a pretty random card.
Okay. What about Ian or Zab? What do you guys have any thoughts on Bang Dream post restriction?
Tested enough.
Just
Yeah.
okay.
I also haven't tested it at all, but like I personally have put it in my S tier. But that's also because I put Hina Logic in S tier, and I know that you guys probably wouldn't agree with it, but it's such a rock paper scissors kind of deck that like you have to build around it or you lose, essentially. And I think at this point we're at the stage where not enough decks have built around it, and Bang Dream can easily win the matchup just because they already run, or they already should be running Himaris that, and like in high amounts. Because like to counter Hina Logic, just having one early play bomb doesn't really accomplish anything. And Bang Dream can just naturally run 4 of them. And that's just fine. And I think the deck is just really consistent on its own. It should still be able to get triple kasumemes off and like combo turn by turn by turn if they get the climax. So I don't really see a reason to not put it in S.
Okay.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
I feel like
let's talk about other
What?
things in
Bang Dream real quick.
your S tier.
Is that cool?
UA real quick.
I don't think a series with so much builds can be lower than A. The card pool is card quality in that set is so high.
I mean, I put multiple
Right.
all in, right? Like that's how I think you should be doing tier lists by deck, not by series.
I
But by-
wrote series in like the decks in brackets.
Yeah,
just
like
to choose the
I
highest.
put by decks because I think if you don't like actually list decks, and I if I wrote like LB in S tier, and people look at the topping LB decks and they see twins, that's just not true. I think twins is a B tier deck at best. So if you want to be specific, you've got to list what deck you're talking about.
I honestly think okay, look, I genuinely think any dumb shell is like the same. I think any shell, like it just doesn't matter what the shell is. Makes this a tier or higher.
That's a reasonable
I think
way
the
to
yellow
put it.
green deck is A tier.
You don't think, or you think it is?
Hmm?
You don't think
Wait.
it's A tier, or you do think it's A tier? The yellow green deck.
If it plays Mocha top end, yeah, I think it's A tier or better at least. Like when they cancel salvage combo and they have the background and stuff. You mean that deck?
Yeah, that one.
Easily A or higher. Like that deck is good. Like by all like finds what Mocha. No, sorry, Mocha. Like what Good Wish was meant for me. So disruptive, it doesn't actually matter. The shell period. So like I think the yellow deck's good.
So similar. Seems like it seems similar to what Zab thought about the Arisa plus stock swap combo.
Yeah,
Is what you're
the
saying about
decompression
Mocha,
combo.
basically.
That's what it sounds.
Punishes good play, and good players don't have recourse against that combo. Is what you're saying.
Well, unless you're playing Milky or Attack on Titan, sort of.
Sort of. It's not perfect.
Yeah.
Like it's so. I tell people Attack on Titan's fine against Mocha, but it's so stupid when you have to use a move counter on a card that just does nothing. Like when you have to use a move counter just to stop a card that does actually nothing, it pisses me off. Like it's just stupid. I don't like it. Freaking annoying, dude. They can also mill your level 3 Mikasa with that card. Dank if they're dank enough. They can read you don't have any in your hand. They mill that card, you can't even search it.
Sure.
I want to talk about Telever. Can we talk about Telever?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is a deck that previously was the literal boogeyman. A lot of people rated it as the best deck in the game for a short while, and then it kind of fell off because people started playing Cinderella Girls, Girlfriend Beta,
It also
and
didn't get
enjoyed
over
it.
set for a while.
Yeah, and they enjoyed having their super
Items.
compression and stuff like that. We've got multiple people here, myself included, putting Telever in A or S tier. Would anyone like to talk about that?
Well, Telever just has one card that's really good against a lot of strategies that have emerged over the past year, which is Wormhole, which just really wrecks decks that are focused around winning at level 2 with early plays. And the top end of Telever is still good, the level 1 combo is still good. The only real issues the deck has is somewhat of a lack of mill, which is far less pronounced than people think it is, because you still have the anti-salvage and the brainstorm is kind of like a mill 5. And the level 1 combo is on reverse, but it hits way higher than on reverse combos that get printed nowadays hit. So really it's just a lack of level 0 utility, and the rest of the deck is just really strong and has always been really strong.
I think Yami's gotten a lot worse since release.
I think it's still
I
quite
think Money
considerable.
Counter has gotten a lot better since release.
I'm not a believer so much anymore. I think the competition for good finishing suites has gone up, and that Yami doesn't necessarily cut it in a lot of games anymore.
Yami's a 2-turn finisher. That's still an extremely powerful one by any measure. Like I fail to see any measure by which Yami is not a powerful 2-turn finisher, unless somehow you're canceling 5 times each turn.
I just think there are other decks that do the 2-turn finish better.
Sure,
quite a lot of them,
for
actually.
example.
All the decks that just have better finishes.
That does not detract from how good Yami is. If anything,
It does, because by comparison, like other sets are just better in that regard.
Yeah, but look, the end goal is still the same, to deal 7 damage. That has not changed, and as a result, you saying Yami's gotten worse despite the competition not changing.
Competition has changed. That's what I'm saying. The competition has changed.
No, not the competition as in the people it's against. The thing it's competing at has not changed. So I don't see why you can say it's gotten worse simply because other decks can do similar or better things. It's still going to 2-turn kill people with remarkable efficiency. That's just true. Like, it's got Encore, it's got you can dig very deep. I'm not really sure where you can.
The deck even has like a line where you can double money counter very efficiently, and you always get the 2 turns double money.
Yeah, like it's got 2-turn finish with money counter, which I think, I didn't even think of that. If it's got money counter, that's actually better than a great majority of decks that try to 2-turn finish. So,
like the only thing that it struggles against is Attack on Titan, because that's hexproof. What else is there even? Like, nothing else actually runs hexproof right now. Puyo maybe, and that's like it.
I mean, they also have to survive their attacks in a way. So
yeah, and the thing is, Tierlist does that pretty well.
I mean, if we go back to Hina Logic, the Yuko walls, for example, it's kind of annoying.
Sure, we run in and then we hand Encore, and then you keep a Yami in hand and you money counter.
Hina Logic, you just bounce them, but yeah.
Well, I guess the idea would be like a deck that would wall Yami's out, right? You play level 3s that naturally are bigger than Yami on defense.
Yeah, you still have the option of just running in, encoring, and then holding up money counter. Because all you need in the next few turns is just
you need
have
2 climaxes.
You
need a second climax. And you need you need 4 cards apart from the Yamis, in addition to the 3rd Yami, plus money. To get that 2-turn tilt against a deck that's walling the Yamis without much effort. Which
when are they
theoretically you can even say that you always have Wormhole.
If you play 3, then you basically always have it. If you play 3, it's very hard to have it.
Even that doesn't really counter it then.
Oh wait, you mean you're going to play it at level 3? Yeah, there's another option. But at a certain point, hand size starts to be difficult to manage. And I think it's around like the first level 3 turn.
It also just depends. Like, if you hit a good brainstorm, then the hand size problem just doesn't exist at all.
Would you play 4 Wormhole?
I think at 4 it stops getting clocked, but I'm playing 4 money counter. I'm playing 4 money counter, 3 Wormhole.
Sure. Okay then.
I just don't know about the consistency of getting double climax while living for the second turn.
Deck that can kill Tierlist if it does its first turn, it doesn't kill.
That's also that's the other point, right? There are just decks that can do a 1-turn.
You can remove Yami from the board, right?
I like this
clock using the level 3 Mega Man finish up combo.
It's
or
hexproof.
send it to
it's
memory.
Hexproof. You can't. It's hexproof. It's hexproof. You can't choose it.
Ignore that one, but you can still send it to memory using like the +2K and send to memory. But
sure. I mean, those are other like meta reasons why it would be a lot worse. Like, but I think in general, I just think decks have gotten better. The good decks
played at 2K assist that sends to memory lose really hard against Wormhole.
That's not the main point. It's like what it just adds to the meta sensitivity of the deck, which it did not have before. Right? Objectively, like those cards now exist in meta where they didn't before when it first came out, as well. But the other thing is like the best decks finish better. Like they just finish in 1 turn a lot better. And so a 2-turn kill deck I think just naturally gets worse.
What about Sunshine? I just don't agree with Sunshine being in S tier when you have to love in like B.
Tom, hold up. I want to know
ahead.
What point in the game state does Tulavru start falling behind? Are you just saying the finishing power not as good as one turn finishes? Like, where does the Tulavru deck fall behind the deck it's versing or other decks of like a similar nature?
Usually level 2, probably. If you use Wormhole, right, you don't get that advantage at level 3 where you can open up lanes for Yami. Right?
But like, you don't even want open lanes for Yami unless it directly like makes you unable to go for the 2-turn kill, because swinging for 3 is obviously better than swinging for 4.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
I don't think that's like. So how does TLR?
I also think the deck can't. What?
How does TLR fall behind it too then?
It doesn't fall behind it too.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like,
If you can make the argument that Milky doesn't fall behind it too, then
Sure.
Tulavru definitely
Fine.
doesn't fall
It's
behind
at parity. But
No, it's
why?
better than
What
parity.
are you guys talking
Like-
about when you talk about Milky?
I want to
Or
know that as
what?
well. I think Milky being in S tier is not incorrect. Like,
Even A.
I think doing that is just not correct. But
I wanna solve
of course
Tulavru
that's
first before we go on to something else. Sorry, I
Yeah.
don't want to like.
Sure.
I don't want to interrupt you, man. Because the Tulavru discussion has gone on for like multiple years. Like, it's actually just like, let's figure this out. Good or bad?
deck is good.
There's just there's actually no logical reason why the deck should not be good.
Look, let me present something for you. I'm not trying to like steal the discussion. I think this is a powerful point that we need to figure out. Let me present something for you. The deck selling at 0. You know how like some decks can fast mill at 0 and almost get like a first deck refresh, like level 0 refresh. Deck, if it hits level 1 first, can't do a bunch of reverses.
Hold
Deck
up.
doesn't get 2
Hold up.
progressed, you might get hit to 2.
Hold up,
When
dude.
you get hit to 2 like that, a lot worse. So I'm gonna present that to you. When the deck gets hit to 2 from like 1-0 to 2-0, deck looks really bad. Deck just doesn't look good.
Every deck looks bad like that, dude.
Well,
Additionally-
the issue is exacerbated with Tulavru because it has a little bit more of a stock requirement for
Sure.
good deck function. Right? You have to play the
Let's
1/1.
talk about the fact that Tulavru can deny reverses. That's something that not a lot of decks can do. This
Sure.
is ignored a
With the
lot.
ba-
How
Sure,
does
with
Lover
the- with the-
reverses again?
with a bounce back run, I assume. Sure.
Yes, that's something not a lot of people talk about.
Oh, the one that pays one to bounce itself as a
Yes.
cost, yeah.
It's not only that, it also
It's a plus.
wins against not high powered reverse combos just with the counter. Because you hit 8k on defense.
If that's an excuse, that's like, I don't buy that. I don't buy counter excuses anymore because a lot of decks
Reverse
put
combos
I'm
got
not
a
going
lot
to-
weaker.
I'm not going to. He's right. They did get a lot weaker. I'm not going to use the counter defense, but being able to, with no there's no strings attached, no nothing, because this is like one of your plussing level 0s anyway. You play 3 to 4 of this run, and you can just deny decks like Saikano, like Konosuba. You can deny freaking attack on Titan. Like, there are all these
But
decks
yeah.
that just don't get their reverses anymore.
Well, you have to draw the cards too.
Sorry.
That's the problem.
You can those decks can still drop level 0s for a turn and then do their combo on the following turn, right? It's not like you're protecting your whatever else
Sure.
you feel.
But the thing is,
right?
we're talking about when does Tulavru fall behind. If we can slow the game down like that, and you can play climaxes, and your opponent plays level 0s, congratulations, you got your level 1 combo off, and now Tulavru has no hand size problems for the rest of the game. Like,
Okay, that's
your
fair.
opponent.
Game?
Wait, no.
I don't think it's the rest of the game.
It's effectively the rest of the game. Assume you hit 1 to 2 brainstorms, and you're basically done for the rest of the game. That is actually the play pattern I've encountered.
Yeah.
So
I agree
yes,
with
you
that.
can make your opponent delay, but by doing that, they're playing into your level 1 game plan, which previously might have had some issues. Like, it might have been problematic against Saikano because they'll reverse with Eri, and now you can't get your reverses. Same with Attack on Titan, but now that's not an issue. Like, I see no one
Sure.
talk about this because no one talks about Talovru, and it's like, have you played the deck? Like, I will be the first to admit that oftentimes I haven't played a deck, but with this deck, I've played it, and it's better than people give it credit for.
Saying is that if you play your reverse denial level 0, your opponent plays, if you level 0 is when they go to early level 1, you reverse their start to combo off Mikan, and then they do whatever they want to do. You don't have hand size problems for the rest of the game, assuming you hit Brainstorm, was it?
Yeah, because you'll now have like 7 cards in hand because you slowed down a turn, which means you get an extra turn of clocking. Like, Talovru is a deck that doesn't care about its opponent's hand size because it's got an uninteractive finisher.
Also,
I don't think
Yami
you
replaces
particularly care about
itself,
your
and there's
opponent's
no
hand size.
extra. Like Yami also replaced itself, and there's no extra hand requirement. I
think
want
the
to
no- I think the no hand size thing is actually pretty weak. I agree with Christian on this. It's just 3 Yamis. You don't care about anything else. You dig 6 cards for money, right? Like, the
Cool for
hand
the
size
climax.
part of it is like, yeah, you're digging for a climax, you're digging for money, right? Sometimes I see people with like 3 Yamis, and that's all
And
they need.
it doesn't cost stock. Like, it doesn't cost a lot of stock either. Like, if you go for the 2-turn kill line, double Yami, double money, costs 7 stock.
I mean, that's the thing. It's efficient, right? That's one of the upsides of Talovru. It's like how IMC played Power of Smile, not because Power of Smile was like a powerful finish, but because you could literally never fail it. Like, as long as you knew how it worked, you literally could not fail. Talovru was very similar.
Anything?
I can't say I'm too the whole brainstorm every turn and try and hit idea, but that about the money sorry, the 2-turn finish and the money counter to defend your Yamis. Who does it? It's maybe 13-5 on one lane.
The money
11-5 on
counter,
another.
the money counter isn't there to defend your Yamis. The money counter is to make it so you don't die. If it somehow saves a Yami in
Yami
the
is
process,
probably
great,
the biggest
but-
card that you're playing down over your 2-turn finish, or maybe the Mikan healer, right?
Yeah, but
Yami
you
has
can just
encore.
encore it.
Your Yamis have to live over the course of the turn, or otherwise you can't back up.
You can encore them.
Unless you're encoring it.
That's
Okay.
what they're
You
saying.
can hand
They're saying they're
encore
gonna. They're saying they're
okay.
going to encore it on offense and defense.
Okay, so let's just okay, so Talovru plays
Or
upper
use
cards.
wormhole.
Talovru plays Mikan. Like, if we go 2-turn finish, the pattern is you play 1 to 2 Yamis, or like Yami plus Maya, and then you open up a route with Maya because Maya's 15k, and then Yami just attacks into whatever.
Maya's the one that digs cards.
Digs up to 5. It's like as many as you have.
Yeah, that card. Yeah, the one where she's putting her hands on her face. Yeah.
Yeah, and on attack she gains some absurd amount of power. So that's a row that you can keep, and then you can play Yamis on the next, like, because you don't have to play Maya. I like having Maya if I have like additional stock, but you don't have to. You just attack with Yami, give the burn somewhere else, no wasted burns, and then the next turn you play the other Yamis that you have in your hand. That's the pattern that usually comes up for a 2-turn kill anyway. Obviously, you play more if you need to dig for the climax, but if you don't, then you can just beat with a 2-soul. The point is, it's not nearly as all-in as people describe it as, and I'm not even taking into account the idea that Wormhole can just bounce and give you free front attacks, and then you can encore without any fear, unless your opponent has like an Arsenal Shirabis. Like, there is a lot more customization than just 3 Yamis, lololol, and then natural draw the wind like a Vanguard protagonist. That's not how it works. Like, you just...
Not roast my favorite game.
You say something, Yue?
How fun is premium?
You just
Anyways, okay. I am semi-convinced, okay? I am semi-convinced. And I'm sorry, I hope I'm not stealing a discussion or enough to talk about.
Stop apologizing. Just get to discussion.
I am semi-convinced, because I don't want this to become too lovely to cast, right? But this deck seems okay. But
yeah, it is fine. I've got it in A tier.
I
don't know about it.
I don't think it's
run like it's a hail, like it's like that good of a card. I can't help but say, like, you're not accurate on that, man. Run, you know what? All it does is like just delay delay your progress in the game or deal 2 damage or deal 1 damage. That's all the card says. It delays every single possible thing that this game wants to do, except.
Okay. So you wait. Something that I look. Very few people have been playing Telovru, and very few people have been experimenting. But you know what I've done? Right now, I'm playing Stock Souls for my level 1 combo. And what you can do going second as Telovru, you can play as many runs as you have and a Stock Soul. And you recoup all of that back. Like, that's a play I've never seen anyone talk about because no one has thought not to play Bar. But if you play that, and I firmly believe that is one of the strongest turn 1 going second plays in all of Weiss right now. 3 plussing zeros that have 0% chance to die, and a Stock Soul. Like, what's someone going to do against that? You're just going to rush them to hell. They can't reverse you because you bounce back, even if you hit them to 1, so that's not even a concern. And then you can do it all again the next turn and still bounce back, and you won't get much of a stock upgrade, sure, but you don't have to triple field run or whatever. Like, that's unlikely anyway. I see no one talk about this, and I want to know what people's thoughts are. Because obviously you guys have not played it, but
bro. How are you drawing 3 runs in your opening going second?
Yeah, well, if
There's
no,
I think 2
That's
is
around
probably
3,
what you
just
should
around
be
2.
talking about.
just play
2
2.
is about reasonable to draw, but
2.
I think he's run.
You can't even expect 1. You only get 1. Like,
You can expect 1. I don't see why you can't expect 1. The chance of getting 1 are like at least 70% at that point.
No, it's like 60.
It's 60.
It's like
It's
60.
60.
With a hard mull?
Yeah. It's like 60.
Okay, sure.
The
That's
chance
better
of
than
getting
50%.
2 or more
That's-
is 27%.
That's
So,
better than 50%. That's the expectation.
well, 2 or more is
Better than
27%.
50%.
So I'm not convinced that this is actually a thing.
4 games. That's not actually that low, I think.
I think it's pretty low.
I don't.
If we're going to talk about it being like the strength of the
High.
deck at level 0, no, it's not very high at all.
If we're going to talk about how powerful it is,
Like, if we're going to talk...
Eight
Okay,
rounds,
well,
right?
I mean, let's talk about level 0 play that's actually like consistent and actually like presents that kind of board very well. Like, let's talk about Red Puyo, right? That deck gets that field every game. Basically every game. Triple
Yeah.
field, 5500s.
okay. And?
I mean, that deck gets it, like, it's like, what, 3 times more likely? It's like 80% to open
Look, see,
3 of them? Like,
here's the problem. Here's the problem that you have when you talk about cards. Whenever you pick something out, you compare it to the gold standard immediately, despite like any other context being there. And I don't think that's the right way to
I mean,
evaluate
what's the
every card.
context for a 27% chance to open 2 or more to be a good defining play of the deck?
That's because when you
Not
get
even
it,
considering the fact that, well, maybe like you have to draw the stock. Like you're talking about the stock soul too. Like that's also not really guaranteed.
Okay, so let's just bear with me. So in Magic Modern, right, there's a deck called Tron. Tron is a deck where you want to get 3 specific lands on turn 3, and then cast a 7 mana card, which is ridiculous. This is not a high chance play. This is like 20-30% chance with all the extras. And yet it is the thing.
Uh-oh.
But you have Ancient Stirrings, man. That's actually not.
You cut off. I only heard up to it is the.
This includes Ancient Stirring.
Bouncy to me.
About clock to draw. It's really not that different. Because you can't spend your first turn casting Ancient Stirrings.
Anyways, I don't want to okay, let's not. Lover's fine. It's like an S presentable deck. So I don't think, from what I hear, Tom believes so. I think you two believe so.
What are we talking about?
I put it as A tier.
Tolliver?
Put
Lover
it in high A.
I put it in B tier.
when things don't go well. Pretty well.
I just don't think the deck's particularly incredible.
Doesn't
It
have
has it
Fine
presents a
deck.
strong enough top end that you can have this discussion, right? Similar to Vivid Strike, similar to Goshusa. Like you can have a case for it being good or bad depending on what you weigh, right? If I weigh the early game, worse than a lot of decks. If I weigh the late game, Lover is pretty good. So I think we can just leave it at that, right? It's kind of.
Yeah, what about Milky?
Actually convinced about the run bit, but not because of like the percentage of getting all the cards in your hand, but rather
No. Rune is
actually
just a good card. Rune is just a good card in general.
I agree that Rune is a
No,
good
it's not-
card,
it's
but
not
I
a bad
don't
card.
agree that
I
it's
would-
as strong.
I would play it. It's good to play, but the play where you said that you want to play multiple of this, your opponent gets level 1 and then you bounce your runes. As good as I interpreted you wanted to make it sound.
No.
I
What
think
I'm
it is good.
Just playing level 1s, you have like some level 0-1-5s, you just
They
pay
don't
stock to get it back
usually
into your
hit
hand.
correct, but you still plus a ton of damage, and like
Plus a bunch of cards that aren't actually
like
going to
sitting
do
metrics that you
anything
have.
for the rest of the game. Like, well, not the rest of
You
the game.
have
but
hand on core. You can
immediately.
clock. Like, these are cards in hand. You will not have hand size problems. That's the idea behind it. You just try field it and you don't really have
Yeah, that's the
anything.
thing.
I mean, you're
Any
getting
negatives
multiples of the
about it?
Ren plus multiples of your combo. Is that what's happening here?
And
level
so you
one-
can clock them.
Your level
Or is
1
it-
suite plus
If
your...
you bounce one that's
Your
like
opponent to 1 using level 0s, and they're swinging back at your 0s. And this is, you've hit them for 1 on your second turn. Level 1 either. And now you have level 0s in your hand
I
that aren't really doing anything.
you can
Is
clock
this
those level zeros.
something that you want to aim for?
Them to hand on core. You can pitch them with the brainstorm.
Low,
You can pitch
irrelevant.
them with the
Hand
event.
on call, but that's not this turn. Now you have like 3 level 0-1-5s that
No,
are probably just going
that
to
is
be
this
like,
turn. That is this turn.
Okay, you've got 3 level 0s, like having like random level 2s that they don't necessarily want to clock immediately. What's the difference?
huh? Wait. So I'm saying the way that you said you wanted to play Ruin is to hit your opponent to 1 in an early stage of the game so they can't use their combo on the return. You said it was to hit them to 1 on like your first turn going second. And that sounds a lot less effective than waiting out a turn or something. If you bounce your level 0 runes into your hand and you're still on level 0, then these cards are, wow, clock fodder.
Barely heard anything you
Just
said.
as
Because you
you
keep cutting
have
it
the
out.
card in your hand. It's not kill your opponent's level 1s with this card. They're not contributing to killing your opponent's level 1s unless, what's the kill core that it buffs? It's a level 1, isn't it?
That card's
Sounds a lot
not
better
getting-
to do
Yeah,
this
completely.
on a turn where you're actually likely to go to level 1 on the next turn. This is a rush tool that you just get cards back in your hand for whatever stock you just triggered.
I still can't respond because because you get C words through. I want to
You
respond, I
guys are
really
just
do.
no one just saying anything.
Both of you are cutting out quite a bit, actually.
Yeah.
Um,
I actually can't understand either of you properly.
Just okay.
Oh, come on.
Out of the two left, I apologize for extending it.
I didn't get what you said either.
I can't
So,
respond because I didn't hear anything he said. But I assume it was to do with how when you bounce back, you now have these 0s which can't attack into 1s.
They can,
look,
it's not a very good play.
sure, but this doesn't actually impact on the rest of your hand sculpting because these cards are effectively just pluses in your hand, even though they're on the field. You don't have to discard them to hand size or anything. Look, when I talked about this is the high roll play. This is something where when you do it, it is incredibly powerful. And in that situation, as long as you have an average draw, you're just favored to win because you have like a whole level of damage over the opponent with little to no drawback. It's not like the defining feature of the deck. And it's certainly not why you play Ruin. You play Ruin to deny reverses. You play Ruin as just a generic plus. And if I had the choice of playing either one Ruin or one Sitting Mayo on turn 1, I play Sitting Mayo. But since Ruin is better at like every other point in the game, I think it's literally better at every other point in the game, I play like 3-4 Ruin and 1-2 Sitting Mayo. That's where I'd go.
I actually don't play Sitting Maya anymore anyways. I just play oversizes.
Yeah, that's
I'm
defensible.
not saying playing Ruin is bad. It's just the play seems very
I think you don't really think about the hand filtering capabilities Tulabru has anyways. So the card is never like dead. Dead cards
Yeah.
don't exist.
Tulabru has a
Tulabru
strangely high
doesn't want
ability to filter.
I know the damage race around any point of the game because
Well,
it's
if
like
Tulabru is
if
not
it's
behind in
marginal, you can
damage,
catch
it's
up using your
very
double finishes,
favored.
right?
Like Tulabru is
If you're
Tulabru isn't
significantly
in
behind, you
damage,
can't actually do anything about it. And
no. There's two different things here. If you're if you're ahead in damage, you actually can't really lose. And if you're behind in damage, you still have like the 2-turn or behind or in
No,
parity.
you're really bad off if you're behind. Like if you're behind, you're very bad off. I agree with that part.
I'm saying that if you push your opponent to 1 and then they put their 1s down, and then you bounce back your ruins, but you stay at 0, direct attack on the next turn, which kind of mitigates that that early damage you were able to push in.
I mean, that all assumes they
Doesn't
have
sound
all
very
their
appealing.
level 1s and stuff. They've had one turn
Well, they don't
of
have to
fucking
eat all
do
of them,
anything.
but
I
Well,
mean,
they just
doesn't it
need
make more
cards.
sense to
Time.
They just need cards
push
that
them
are
to the
bigger
house?
than your level zeros. They don't
Sure.
have to.
No, they don't, because you can just side level 0.
and how many of those do you actually have, though? I don't think Tulabru's level 0s are on high power characters.
That's
No,
true.
they're not.
And so
Yeah.
you're playing Anti-Sap, but you're playing Ruin. What else are you playing?
I still play Sitting Mayor. He doesn't. Like, he just
I
runs
play
Sitting Mayor
4
and gives it a plus.
Brainstorm, 4 Run, 2 of the 1/5 pump, 1 Drop Search, and 4 Oversize.
4 oversizes is, I mean, it's not nothing, but at the same time, it's not exactly that you can expect to always just be able to beat your opponent's stuff with, right? If you're pushing your opponent to 1.
No, but like the thing is, if you push you like, I don't even know why we're talking about this clearly like low percent play. But the thing is, even if you push your opponent to 1 and you don't get hit to 1 retaliation, if they don't try field level 1s, then I'm not sure what even the problem is, because you can just side level 0s if you can, even if you don't know what has to beat over them.
Wait, let's just move on.
Yeah. Okay.
Whatever.
Was it? Did someone? Were we talking about Milky next, or what? What's happening?
Yeah, let's talk about Milky, because that has
Okay.
similarly low rep to like other decks we've talked about and are justifying. And you've got it in S tier.
Yes,
so
I do.
go for
Like,
it.
show me a list so I can look up the cards. I don't remember too many.
Sure.
Oh man, you don't even know what the cards do. You can't tier it. You know what? That's
Oh,
a
Yeah, I
problem.
I haven't put Milky on my list.
I make a mistake too. It's like a fallacy.
Milky's not on his
Don't
list.
know about.
Milky's not on his list. That's why we're asking the people who do have Milky.
I mean, if you just boil it down, Milky's has basically the strongest level 1 in the game.
Be the Ellie that goes to about 7k if you throw a climax in your level.
Yeah, and with the counter it's 10k, and the second one is like 8.5 usually.
Yeah, and then you have a back row that pumps power when you use an act ability or when you put a card in your climax
it's
level
when you
zone or something
when
like
the card
that.
enters your level zone. It's 1500 power.
Yeah. And then every time a
the
card
counters
enters
you
the level
use,
zone, you pay 1.
yeah, and the counter you use gets replaced for 1 stock, and then if you run, like if you win 2 lanes because of that 1 counter, it's effectively like a +2, and you still get stock charge, obviously.
What do you do at level 2?
Basically nothing. Reactive garbage.
You just
You
use
win.
2 1s.
Well, okay. Well, obviously, it's a little bit more problematic against early play decks. But I mean, generally, the game plan has always been win the other lanes that aren't occupied by early plays. You can set up boards that can contest the early plays on defense. A lot of early plays. You could run standby stuff out, like the old Milky Holmes 2 Ellie.
Yeah, so it doesn't have a combo.
Say again?
There's no.
The standby is the PR that doesn't have a combo on it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But in general,
so
I think the deck, the deck generally achieves a pretty good level of compression for the second deck, and if it chains another combo at level 2, even if it's crashing the Ellies, I think you're pretty good for the third deck, honestly. Most decks don't have the ability to change the tempo of the game such that they'll be at level 2, like they'll be continuing to be at level 2 to a significant rate in the second deck. So generally you get parity all throughout level 2, even if you're like losing lanes to early plays.
If you have to crush Ellies, then how are you getting through your deck so fast?
What do you mean?
You don't have a counter to trigger your mill 4.
I mean, why do you need to mill though? I don't understand the
get
question.
to a third, you mentioned third deck.
I mean, your second deck's going to be generally as good or better than the other guys. So like, you're only milling if you're in one of those situations.
So what if you're playing against, say...
But to answer that, I mean, you have the stock bomb that mills 3 on play. You have like a spammable search brainstorm you could play. You go through 8 cards.
Don't play it,
huh? Yeah, you do.
Do you play it?
I mean, do I play it?
Do you play it?
The stock bomb or the spammable search brainstorm?
Search brainstorm.
Yeah, I play it.
Okay.
But like generally, you don't really need the mill that badly.
Yeah.
As with most decks, you don't really need the mill in second deck that badly. Yeah. Generally, like the game plays out in a way that like both players spend like maybe 2 turn cycles at level 2, then they get level 3. When the game follows that script, as it usually does, Milky's fine. Like they don't really need a level 2 gameplay unless and this is a caveat, like I've played unless the deck like generates unfair amounts of damage economy like losses for Milky at level 2. Generally this is like decks like Love Live Sunshine, I think, and specifically not like the Japanese versions of Love Live Sunshine. More the 2 soul versions of Love Live Sunshine give Milky a lot of trouble because they get the double early play setup without much fuss. And then they create huge like damage economy losses for Milky at level 2 because of the way Yo works.
Interestingly enough, like if you talk about decks that are premier at level 2, like stuff like Hina Logic and Vivid Strike doesn't bother Milky at all, because once Milky hits level 3, they'll just bounce your board.
I don't like the argument.
They bounce your board. Which one's that?
It's the 3/2 narrow from second stage.
See, I don't like that argument. What you're saying is, because my level 2 sucks anyway, I don't mind losing it in any matchup. So I have a better matchup against
not any matchup.
Striking.
You have like 2-1. You have like the 2-1 that kills level 3s. Where the opponents
that's fine. That's fine. I know that you have a level 2. I just think it's reactive and struggling to keep up with any other, proactive deck. The thing is, when you say that you've got a quote-unquote better matchup against these decks because your level 2 is garbage anyway, I don't like that argument.
No,
like I don't buy that.
I have a better matchup. I said that despite like these decks are like premier decks that would be good at level 2, that would take advantage of this weakness, but they actually just die to another card in the deck.
That means you have a better matchup against it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that is what you said, and that's why I don't like that argument. So
No, I mean that you don't have a bad matchup because
you don't.
have other ways to combat those.
You don't have a bad matchup against it anyway, because the thing with Milky is its level 0 is a pile of garbage.
It is
level
not.
2 is a pile of garbage.
Its level 0 is fine. Perfectly reasonable,
it's
honestly.
Garbage.
No, it's not.
You don't have.
It's totally fine.
Okay.
In what aspect is it garbage?
You've got what, 4 oversizes? You've got 4 of this level 0 that you need. Like, okay, it's a plussing level 0. That one's fine, but then everything else is just ramshackle. Like you don't have a particularly good brainstorm. You don't have a standalone plussing 0. You don't have any costless on-command mill aside from a stock bomb, which has its problems there. Like, you'd be very hard-pressed to call this a good level 0.
Well, I mean, the game script for Milky 0 is generally you play the oversize, you plus, then you try field with an alley. That's about it. And that's fine. Like, you do the things that other decks do. Sure, you're running like maybe you're running more drop searches because your level 1 has a little bit more overhead compared to other decks. But I think generally you do what other decks like to do at level 0, which is get cheap pluses and Trifield. And that happens most games. It's not garbage. It's just fine. It's not like, is it the best level 0 deck in the game? No. Is it the worst? Not even close.
On this list, it's pretty
not
close to the worst.
It's better than 12 better than...
It's pretty close.
What?
Pretty close to the worst.
Better than Gochu? Yeah, probably.
No, it's not better than Gochu.
I think it is.
Has Ricky and Rize at them.
I mean, Rize's not a level 0 card. It's like not a level 0 strength card. It's just utility. It's like really powerful utility.
Okay, Ellie's not a level 0 card
Rize
either,
is-
so you can't say that argument.
They
What?
also have a runner, as opposed
And
to
Ricky.
Poking, right?
I mean, yeah, I guess runner's a bit better.
Sure.
If he had a run,
But-
Actually,
I'm just saying it's not like...
Bang Dream has a pretty.
It is not in a
little
tier
lineup.
of
Yeah,
badness or even like mediocrity where it's like an objective weakness of the deck. It's not something that you can necessarily take advantage of unless you're locked
See,
into this
that-
idea
that's-
that Milky
I've got
level 0 is
I've got an
bad.
issue here. This is inconsistent, right? So you say that Yami is not a good finisher because there are better level 0s. How in the world can you rate Milky's level 0 as being anywhere near good when there are so many better level 0s out
Because the
Like,
degree
Yami
of
is still
difference isn't that
This
high,
is not.
is what I think.
Yes, it is.
No, it isn't.
Well,
I think
Yami
the
versus
degree
what?
is pretty high. Just because
It's
Ricky
pretty
is
high.
a thing that's
Like-
pretty
Sure.
Every
Then the degree,
single...
then the impact of the difference isn't that high.
Ricky is functionally the same as the drop searcher in Milky. Like, let's be real.
Yeah.
No,
That's
it's
also-
not.
Well,
Like, Ricky in another deck is so much better than a Ricky would be in, like, than in Milky, because you've got so much more overhead. Like, a drop searcher in Milky gets you closer to this Voltron combo of 1-0 Ellie's plus 1-0 Sharrow plus all this garbage, right? And all you need in any other deck with a Ricky is Climax. And at that point, your Ricky's a +2. So, yeah, drop searchers are nowhere near as good. If your deck has to play a drop searcher, it means that either its level 1 is incredible, and I think Milky's level 1 is incredible. That's why I've got it in my A tier. But either its level 1 is incredible, or there's something really, really wrong with some other part of the deck. Now, I do think Milky playing drop searches is fine, because drop searches scale better than Ricky into the end game. It gets you what you need. You do have a functional game, but I really think that writing off this as, it's still fine, it's still okay, that's just oversight. Like, Milky has an objectively mediocre level 0. It has a objectively bad level 2. And level 3 is fine, but it's a hodgepodge. It has reasonable reach through the Ellie. It has reasonable techie ability thanks to, like, I don't know if you play the Climax combo Sharrow that salvages a character, but that's like a salvage box. You've got the bounce. You've got all this. You've got Witch, which is a good card. You've got all these cards, but none of them scream fantastic to me. Like, no.
I think level 3 is actually pretty fantastic.
I think the level.
Yeah, it's
I think
fine.
the Ellie's actually. Like,
Okay, so
really good.
let's So Chris, what do you think? What's a better level 3, Talavru or Milky?
It's kind of difficult.
Yeah, I know, right? That's why I'm
Oh.
asking the question. What do you think? Do you value this?
Yeah. Mm.
Like, that's what I want to know.
I think
Like,
about the same.
it's really about cop out answer. It's really rare that I turn to Chris instead of Tom when I ask these questions. But I think right now, there's a flaw in this reason. Like, there's a flaw in that in you rating these cards like that, because the impact is not as big as the impact difference is not as big as you say. So I have to say, really, Milky has some really, really strong cards. Like, the package of 3k counter swap, get a obnoxious power, is functionally the same as Attack on Titan bouncing back for like
It's
99% of scenarios.
It's better
It's
because you
okay,
win
yeah,
8.
Yeah, okay.
It's
So
literally the best level 1 that you can have,
Well,
except
what
for
I'm-
like
what I'm trying to
soundless
say
voice.
in 99% of scenarios, it's a better version of that because the tempo advantage, you get to open lanes. But is nothing. Now, like Chris said earlier, it's sort of a strength because it's nothing, you can just play zeros and chump attack, and that means you're not really crippled like some decks would be against, say, Hina Logic. Like if you played Kotori Rewrite against Hina Logic, they just kind of laugh at you, right? But this deck you just play zeros or play spare Ellies, or hell, you can play counters if you really want and just chump attack in. It's not a strength for the deck. Don't get me wrong, that's not a strength. It just means that because you have a deficiency, these targeted meta counters aren't going to affect you. And the level 3 is a really good toolbox. Is all of this enough to get a deck to level like to S tier? If it's not good enough now, I don't think it's ever good enough.
Well, I
many
just
on-reverse
value
combos.
the ability to box out basically every deck in the meta or in any meta period. At level 1 is just really powerful. Milky doesn't suffer any of the issues that traditionally field decks have had, wherein power sensitive to like meta power levels. That doesn't exist with Milky. It just doesn't exist. There's the only decks that challenge Milky at level 1 are like joke decks that no one plays. Like yellow IMC, like yellow Cinderella Girls, for example.
Soundless voice.
Okay,
soundless
sure.
voice.
And Rider, yes.
No,
I don't
Rider's weaker.
think Rider
Suiciders.
beats. I don't think Rider beats Milky.
I think suiciders aren't really common right now, but if you feel like there's suiciders in your meta, you could run the off-time clone. Like I ran it before and I put it up.
Well, I mean, the thing about Suiciders is that typically,
Suiciders are also bad equity.
Yeah, when your opponent is fielding Suiciders instead of a level 1 combo to kill your level 1 dudes.
What about Love Life Sunshine with Chica?
Sure.
That's
I guess.
Wow.
But that deck is also
That's
just
a
like,
joke deck.
I
That
mean,
counts as a joke
I
deck.
think that deck you're basically sacrificing your ability to win in like every other matchup just for this ability to beat a deck that's like so dish that no one plays, right?
But there's also Guardian though. That basically does exactly the same.
Uh,
I mean, Guardian has a salvage brainstorm. and-
Guardian doesn't win 2 lanes with 1 counter. That's the thing.
I mean,
Guardian is also weaker.
You can just come back to
Guardian
level
is weaker
2
on
easy.
defense. Like Guardian actually gets breached.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I
realistically
think
speaking,
well,
the
it does
counters
come
are
back
like-
level 2, but I think the impact of better damage economy is way higher at level 1.
Yeah, like
That's just it. Like
another
empty
argument-
lanes can counters represent the highest equity that you can get from like that like card archetype at level 1, basically.
Like an argument you can make against Milky is that even though it gets tempo at level 1, its abysmal level 2 means that at best it's breaking even at level 2. But the thing is, by level 2, you've refreshed and your deck is now in a much better state. So, like, it's not equivalent. Like, 1 extra soul at level 2 is completely different to 1 extra soul at level 1. I guess
Yes.
is what I'm trying to say. So,
I just
yeah,
value that. I think that's really good. Like
I value it and I put it in A tier.
that's
S
like
tier is a big jump.
I mean,
Well, I mean,
I was
it depends on what you
the
consider
weird
S
guy
tier,
who
I
always
guess.
had Milky and S. But especially with stuff like on reverse getting more common, like Milky obviously gets higher.
I'm not sure it actually is getting more common. Like, it's just always been there. It's just not been as obvious since, like,
Well, especially Wise kind of has this like new deck syndrome where people try to play new decks a lot, and they stopped printing good not on reverse combos.
yeah, I can get behind that because I think it's entirely true. Aside from, the only one I can think of in recent times is what, Jing? She's
Yeah.
the only kind of good non-reverse combo. Anyway, is there anything else people want to talk about?
Also, by the
Because,
way, isn't it John?
I
Shouldn't
don't
It
care.
is John. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
owner of Arc. I don't care.
Ruler.
Is Is there anything else that anyone wants to talk about? Like, is there? Okay, I do want to talk about why Kiznaiver is there, and why Excel World isn't B tier in UA's tier list. That seems pretty out of me.
Sometimes people change, man.
I mean,
But really, why is
Realize
Kiznaiver?
that maybe Philip McKay was right.
Why is Kiznaiver? Oh my god, I never thought I'd hear those words.
Oh, this retraction. Uh-oh.
thanks.
So
I live in Sydney.
So there are
The people who are right.
there are two things that I want to address in Hentai Lover 69's tier list. The first is Kiznaiver, because like a lot of people don't know what Kiznaiver does, and I want to know what build you consider A tier. And the second is Kill the Kill, because Kill the Kill.
Put it in A tier?
Yeah, you did.
You did.
I have a deck and I just can't find it to be good currently. Maybe 1 year ago it was okay, but not now.
I like the deck's first refresh compression. It can do like some insane first refresh compression. It goes like 8 and 25.
Yeah, I know with like the markers and how efficient some of the advantage engines are, it can be quite good. But then at level 2, you just don't do very much. I mean, you don't do enough. Your finishes are not terrible, but also not particularly threatening. At least not enough to catch up the difference that...
They are pretty bad. They're only decent because anti-heal exists, right?
Like, Ryuko is okay. Musashi Mako's a well. Then Musashi is like, what else can you say, right? It's just not...
A couple things in this game.
They're not good enough to catch up the difference that you often make at level 2 from not having...
Multiple
I think
agents,
level
right?
2 is overvalued. Two things. I think level 2 is overvalued, just in general. There are things that I think are undervalued and that, if valued properly, they single-handedly win the game. And one thing is getting like a first refresh 8 and 25. I think when you pull off a first refresh 8 and 25, those are games that you actually, if you lose, you 50% to lose that game. Like if you do lose, you got unlucky.
But what
Like
happens
refreshing
if it
first
stock
deck 8 and
swap?
25, I think is that's why Guardian's good. That's why I think Kill is good.
That's why Milky's
Early,
good.
level on your first deck, right? That means you come back on a pretty compressed second deck. And then you have to play into the level 2 game on likely to cancel, meaning you stay on level 2 for a longer time. I don't think that's very desirable.
I mean, you can use the early play, and that's a cantrip.
But like, there's a bunch of decks now that the early play doesn't really help you with. Hina Logic is one. Killing
sure, you have a bad
early plays
Hina
with
Logic
Sunshine is
matchup.
okay.
I mean, that's like the thing. Some decks suck against Hina Logic or aren't as good against Hina Logic. But does that really
But well,
matter?
even aside from Hina Logic, even if you kill an early play from Sunshine, they can just play it back for a relatively cheap cost. Your stuff's not coming back on defense. You spent stock, and I mean, you get hand back, but
On the other hand, like early
you're
plays
still
get
not exactly
get a
doing
lot
fantastic.
worse. Early plays get a lot worse if the opponent has like good second deck compression, right?
I don't think so. 2 is not that much worse than 1.
No, but like because they lose lanes, it's basically 3 plus trigger.
Oh, okay, sure.
3 plus trigger.
Yeah, if they swing into empty lane,
Side,
it's
sorry,
3
yeah,
plus
sorry.
trigger.
I think a big part of the kill early play game plan that's missing is just an exchange counter. Like,
yeah,
that's like a huge hole in its ability to leverage advantage at level 2.
Does it have the stock to do that?
Yeah,
kind of.
you just need
Level
3 stock,
3
right?
isn't that expensive.
Like,
And
Yeah, I
you
think
just
we'll
play
play
early
it.
plays, right? And they run over something.
Oh.
But you have no way to defend these early plays. Your investment is like so vulnerable.
It goes one way, you get your cards back, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so vulnerable, and that's why Kill is just, not so great. I don't think.
But sometimes by getting that 8 and 25, you can just do some dumb shit and you run away with games. And that's, you know what, that's good enough for me to be. And honestly, like.
But can it do that dumb shit and run away with games?
I mean, okay, well, like, here's the problem, right? It's just like, I guess it's a problem I have with marker compression in general. It's just like, when you generate compression with markers, you're not, like, increasing the capabilities of your deck to do anything, right? You're just canceling more, whereas with decks such as Milky or Rewrite, your compression is manifested in an inordinate, like, surplus of resources, an ability to do things that other decks can't do. Apart from just canceling more.
Yeah, and you can use those resources, or you can keep those resources, and both are
right. But
strategies.
markers don't offer the same kind of equity that stock does.
Nor are they like they don't always stay there. You might go into first refresh with 1-0s with markers, but those 1-0s are not going to stay there very long, and that's transient compression. So while I understand,
but I don't think that's why Kill is particularly unfavorable in the current meta, in my opinion.
Kill's unfavorable because its cards on the whole kind of suck.
It's just like a commentary on like the comparison to other decks that stock charge, like the other decks that get good second deck compression, right?
Memory is like a similar deal to.
Yeah, that too.
Memory is just the worst kind of compression. It doesn't even. It's kind of like marker compression. I don't disagree.
Can we talk about? All right, can we talk about Kiznaiver? I want to talk about Kiznaiver.
I really do.
Kiznaiver is S tier.
Please don't tell me it's the Philip McKay build.
It's not. I don't think.
Because of the joke, I might be overvaluing it for the comedy, but I think people who know me, Tom knows me, I'm really high on the deck.
Yeah, you are. I think it's a fun. I don't know, man. I think it's easy. Yeah, so the deck is really fun to play. I think it's really easy to overrate decks that you find fulfilling to play.
Disagree, but that deck is what's it called? It has like probably like not unfair level 2, so it probably has the best, like a really good level 2 game, like a top of the line. It can highly on some card effects, but it has a really good level 2 game. It's like Milky if it had good level 2s, and then that's like what the trade-off is.
I really hope
but then it doesn't do anything level 3.
Taking damage, right?
It doesn't do anything at level 1 either. Like you stock charge, but
that is actually not true at all.
Well, you get really big. Not that big on defense, unfortunately.
It's 5/5.
That can actually kill Milky at level 1 easily, like without even.
That's true, but like I said,
Milky's level 1 is like your goal line is really good. Only a special deck, both in terms of representation and power lines, right?
Disagree, like Tom's right. For all of us, even decks that we find fun to play, we might rate highly. Let me try to rationalize some good things about Kiznaiver. Strongest level 0 oversize in the game, I think, hands down. That card is powerful. The one that gives you a free stock, it's like in the same vein of power level as like. I think it's a bit too overspec, kind of like the.
But the condition on that card is you have 2 or fewer characters, isn't it?
No, the opponent can't have a climax.
Oh, not the stock.
The power.
The power's not that important to me. I think.
Sure.
But like, obviously you want the power. When you get that stock, your level 0 is just better than everyone else's level 0. When you get that stock, it's like the way I phrase it to some people who understand the game mechanics better is that card effect is like a 3+1. It gives you a stock, which can lead to other pluses, So it's like a +1 that does more. 1.5 sometimes, just because of that card effect exists. And then the card might +1. So that card, just by using it once, it's like a +2.5.
I mean, it's like a clean cut, right? Except you don't need the second card to attack with.
You can only +1, man.
Oh, wait, but like, I mean, but the stock you generate with extra attacks could like lead to pluses later, right? I can see why it's a +1, but I don't see why it's a +2 compared to like other cards that enable extra attacks.
No, it's like
It's like
if
an
you think-
oversized.
So Kiznaiver has
Right,
one
yeah,
where
yeah. So
one
like
stock actually
oversized,
to one
it's
hand,
like an
right?
oversized clean cut. Sure, I can
Yeah.
buy that. That's really good. Like I don't disagree.
But that only is true if the opponent doesn't maul climaxes.
Sure.
Otherwise, it's just a
You
shitty
can kill,
oversize.
but
Yeah,
I don't think the card's bad, but I don't think it's hyper at all.
I think that
Okay.
card with you resolve 1, it actually carries the deck. That's-
Well, what else about
Your game plan
Kiznaiver's
is a
level
lot
0,
better.
sir?
Well, Yura is good.
Card. That's a good card. Okay, I will admit, B tier. I put it there because in loving respect to my best friend Philip McKay, I was wrong.
Sorry. Philip McKay is just a very
Hates you,
funny
man.
name.
He hates you a lot.
Unsurprisingly.
All right. What else do we want to talk about before we wrap up? Because it's been a pretty productive discussion, and if Tom hasn't recorded this, I'm going to fly over and
Oops.
smash his head into a monitor. Okay. So there are a couple that I think are interesting.
This
We
is
could talk
basically
about some of
Hina
the
Logic
newer-
versus the cast.
We could talk about some of the newer sets. Do we think
I
they
spe-
change?
well-
meta?
Fate Laser is S tier.
Oh yeah, Fate
Um,
Laser is really good. Don't underestimate that deck.
Go away. I want to ask Zabuton a question about Miku. What do you think
Miku.
about Miku? Wait, is it you?
I
No,
actually
it's
don't
Ian. It's Ian. Never mind. I had the wrong list. Is it Ian? Yeah, it's Ian.
Ian, right?
So, yes. No,
Mostly,
Ian. So
I also have
Miku's
it
Yeah.
italicized, so I don't really know, you know?
sure. Okay. Does anyone know anything about Miku aside from like?
Yeah.
Yes.
I guess
me.
I know a little bit about it.
Um,
One of them burning 3 a bunch of times is pretty good, but that's actually all I know.
I've got Miku and A tier with the Umiyuri hand-in-hand build because I think that Umiyuri is stupid, and I think that Miku can actually leverage it in a reasonable way. Like before, I thought the top end sucked, and then I read the cards again. I'm like, oh, the top end doesn't suck that much.
yeah,
it's all right.
It is fine.
Especially if
The-
you like play it 2K1, like 3-2, 3-2, 3-2 is like pretty solid. And if you don't play 2K1, if you play like 1K1, like 3-3-3-3-3, if the opponent refreshes during that, they just need to take 2 of those to die. So it's like better triple Xenon if the opponent like refreshes during, which is not unlikely if you considering your 6 rather large swings.
Yeah, but if they're in a fresh deck, it's obviously
Yeah,
just
like-
not that great.
It's obviously shit against really good compression like Xenon
Yeah.
is.
I think it's just A tier, almost entirely on the merit of the 2-0 event. So
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
that
Like
package
that
did not
event sucks.
exist, I don't know that it's even B tier. It's like that event is actually just the same.
It's
Samson Chow gets carried by that event so fucking hard. Holy
Nice.
shit, I lost.
Okay, dude.
And it was
Like-
2 events.
I'm a little upset when they revealed it. I thought they just forgot to add discard a card at the end, but no, they hadn't. It was just stupid.
Like that event actually
Ugh.
makes no sense.
Close that
Like
event.
actually that's a card that I think is even more overspec than a Kasumi PR.
No, I don't think
know
it's
about
I don't think it's overspec
No.
in really the same way. Because like the Cosmic PR is
oh.
literally like
It's custom made.
it's like a meme
The-
tier custom made like dream card.
So what the Kasumi PR is? The Kasumi PR is the sort of thing. If Weiss had like a custom Weiss cards like Reddit or something, that's the sort of thing you'd expect from a day one Bang Dream player who wanted this sort of consistency for his deck.
Yeah,
And
I
I
feel
think
like
Zero event
I feel
was
like they
comical.
made it just to increase the desirability, like
well
just to like sell more cards.
First
That's
set
what
was
it
really
said.
shit, right? In first set the PR wasn't broken because the rest of the cards all sucked. And they
Yes.
printed the PR when they only had the first set.
Yeah. So the PR is comically overspec in that it's way too focused. Umi Yuri is just generically unbalanced. Like, that's not a card that should exist because it's just a bunch of text that is completely unreasonable.
Yeah.
It's like 0 cost +1, like, and it mills up to 8. Like, if you had to print a card to make a 5 or less card in deck early play good, well, I guess you made it, right?
Do people actually play that card in?
Well,
Diva?
if they don't, they probably should. That card's crazy good. You
They do.
Wait,
don't need to
which
worry about
card? Wait, which card?
the early play. Draw 2, ditch 2, stock 1.
Stock 1.
Yeah, but that's not 5 or less deck. That's 6 or more climaxes.
Oh, right.
Oh, sure, 6 or more. 5 or less cards, 6 or more climaxes. Same thing. Like, they're both
It's
really
similar, yeah.
bad. They're both really bad, is the point. Okay. Does anyone want to talk about anything else? Like, SAO is really weird because people still have it in A
SAO
tier.
is shit right now.
Yeah, I think it's fallen off a lot. I don't really see a reason to play it. celednb has not even got it on the list.
No. I think SAO is worse than literally everything on here, so.
Sure. Zab has an A tier. What do you reckon about SAO? Oh, so does Nanian. I'm not trying to like put you guys on the spot or anything, but what do you think?
Oh yeah. Just before we talk about my ban list, this is sorry, my tier list before the ban list, so you can kind of put Bangreen down to A and then just put like strong and considerable.
Sure.
SAO. I think so. I've kind of divided the sets by like what. Like A is what you're expecting to face, or like what you want to, I guess, when you're building your deck.
I mean,
B is what
interestingly
does
enough,
that well.
These these 4 decks for like A, the ones without the question mark, these are like the highest rep Japanese decks with Bangreen.
I think
These
these are
5,
the ones which I think you want to watch out for.
which makes sense if Sydney plays Japanese meta, right?
I don't know anyone who plays Konosuba other than doesn't take it to tournaments because he doesn't like it.
I think Konosuba is
can
good. I
see
just
why
don't like the Japanese build.
Konosuba is good, but I just don't. I don't know anyone in Sydney who plays it if that's what you're asking. But yeah, back to Sword Art Online. I think it does have like strength in each of its cards that it sets the line of what you want to play against. Like how you want to play level 1 to 1, well, level 1 onwards really. Good. You can your standby targets are efficient. You just have a big board throughout and have one of those timings where if you don't deal with the board, you eventually lose out. Mostly. Not. Let's see other people are playing.
It's a good standby deck, but I'm not sure if that even means anything right now. Because standby is just
Oh, I know you don't rate
think-
standby very much.
I think
I think the only
on level
thing
1 is actually pretty strong at the moment. It's like
yeah, but SAO doesn't wall multiple lanes. It walls 1 lane or 2 maybe, but it always loses the third one.
True. It's true.
yeah, mostly 2, and then you lose the third one, and then the next turn you win all 3, basically.
I think
Oh,
the
yeah,
only
like-
place where Sal falls short is it's finishers, basically. I don't think it creates
Well, also
uneven.
you
Sword
don't
Art
neg
falls
one.
short on finishers.
I don't think its finishers are very good right now. In a meta where decks are aiming to compress. Right.
I'm not looking so much at. I prefer the door build, so I'm not that.
I'm not sure how these
I'm
door
not that
builds
worried about
win
the finishers being that
against
weird.
good decks. Like I don't
I think
know
it's
how the door builds win against good decks, honestly. Like if you're just against something like Gochiusa, how do you end the game before just orbital nuke strike you out of the game?
Why is Gochiusa an issue for the door build?
Well, you have no capabilities to actually end the game. So the game just goes on till it's at the point where Gochiusa just does triple ping 3 and triple ping 2 and you die. For example, like just decks with a good end game. You can't
But
really
you
progress
can
the game.
okay, you get ping 2, but the idea is if the game's slow, right, you're also compressing from not losing field, not having to spend stock on playing stuff or searching stuff to play out. But you're being pretty efficient in that aspect. And then you should be canceling the bigger attacks or anti-damaging whatever you can't, right? So you can get your damage through by outvaluing your opponent.
True that the deck plays anti-damage. Actually, forgot about
You play anti-damage in that deck.
Yeah.
I think, and your damage output's not that bad if you're winning lanes in your opponent's turn, so it's a huge issue is that you're not playing the most suitable finishes to put in damage.
You're not playing any finishes really, except for the restand, which sucks when you're winning field.
Yeah, that's about it. But I don't see that as a huge issue. You also have Yui if your opponent leaves a small deck with a larger amount of stock, which is something that I guess you'd be seeing against stuff like Gochiusa trying to triple combo you.
As well as Guardian and Milky, if that's...
Well,
against Guardian,
any deck really can give you an opportunity to just kill their stock.
Against Guardian, you just lose field. You like your SOL anyways.
When you hit level 3, your opponent can't back up your Silicas anymore. So with Asuna and
wait, is this Silica also anti-event?
oh wait, sorry, you can use you can use events. I forgot you have. But how big does Guardian get on offense?
Usually 13k and you can back up.
I think it was 13k, pretty. 13k is you can get bigger than that.
How?
Your healers are 11k. You have a 2k backup.
You can't back up. You can't back up.
You just stick a global leaf in the back. That's 14.5.
So you trigger standby twice.
Or you just play.
You can trigger standby twice. You just play the leaf from your hand. It's also fine.
I mean, you need to draw it and trigger a standby. That's absolutely.
You can play or trigger a standby for the Asuna, and then you can just search the Leafer or trigger another standby as well. But
huh? Yeah, at level 3, but I'm talking about level 2, right? I don't care.
But like you can do at level 2, but you're still making your
like you're not actually getting to the compression point. You're not getting to the compression point because you immediately lose your field at level 2. That's the thing. Like you never actually.
Are you triple fielding?
Resources. The 2-1, yeah.
I don't. Is that actually reasonable? I don't think it's easy to get 3 of the same card in.
Are we talking about the Lucia? Kind of zoned out. Yeah, it's very reasonable.
You're getting
it's the main plan.
Card in Guardian where just off Amagi and your first deck Brainstorm, right? I don't think it's that easy to get 3.
Well, you've got the clock thing to fix. You've got natural draws. 2 is fine as well because it's the clock swap. Like it's fairly reasonable. Like I've done 2 very consistently.
Like
and
I think
3 on
2 is like a pretty much every game thing, and 3 is like if you're somewhat lucky.
Sure, but like if you're looking at 2, then you can get out your Lisbeth, which comes back if your friend kills all your stuff. Playing with Lisbeth, which is presumably higher than whatever's being played there.
Okay, but what's the Lisbeth gonna do? Attack into a 2-1?
There's a third lane, right? That isn't the 2-1.
All right, sure, but
Everyone around you is playing the 2-1 build, sure.
You're swinging for 3 plus trigger there, so that probably cancels.
I'm not really understanding of this notion that 3 will probably cancel. Like what?
I
Cancel?
I don't like
but
that argument either. I don't like that argument either.
like
But
3 will probably
I
cancel.
really
Like, well,
I really don't think you can argue that SAO can hold a field against like the 4-2-1 Lucia build, because I don't think any deck, except for Hina Logic and maybe Guardian itself,
sure.
would have
Rewrite's not that. Sword Art Online's not that great against whatever your build of.
Lucia.
Yeah. So what the build of Guardian that you guys advocate for, which I'm again not a fan of, but against.
Sure.
If you look at pretty much every other deck in what I've put as B, like you still do need to, which is why I put it as A.
Wait,
It's a deck
let's
you
go
need
through
to.
this. Okay, Little Busters, sure. What do you do against 3-0?
What's the ReZero you have in mind?
Yellow, blue.
Actually, a question that we'll have to go through for every time we talk about it, though, because
I actually don't know what reason
I find that we don't have the same
I
idea.
really don't. I'm sure there's a good build,
I don't know what.
but I have no idea what's good
I think
anymore.
Reinhardt is pretty cool, but up to that point, that's impressing.
No, like say
I haven't
ReZero
found
this
it.
double early play thing. How do you deal with that?
For are we talking about Rem or some other early play?
Felt and Ram.
Right, yeah, you guys play Rem. Philip, that's right. We still play bombs. Like, you can get rid of one.
Wait, you just play okay, I didn't know that. Sure. I mean, I guess that's fine.
One, yeah. You can still play 1 or 2. Gil counter, so you can make your opponent not
Well,
front
but
your stuff.
how do your lanes survive? Or I guess, or say ReZero sides. What do you do?
Zero sides, you play out your bomb, you swing at that thing.
I mean, even if you play out the bomb, you still lose the other lane, right?
Like, okay, it's not you're not winning every lane, but you're using 1 stock to answer your opponent's 2 stock play. So in that aspect, you're not doing too badly. You still have a win.
Play. The Felt is a 1 stock play.
Yo, yeah, but if you get rid of Ram, that's fine.
The Felt is a 0 stock.
You really want to get rid of the Felt.
But yeah,
you definitely want to kill the Felt. You definitely don't want to.
But either way, you're doing okay on the field. Like you're not.
No, but if you're
losing out or anything,
that's reliant on winning field, like doing okay on field isn't good. If because you don't have anything else.
My notion of saying okay is that you still have opponent stuff. You still have an opportunity to trigger your standbys, which, according to you guys, is less likely than what I seem to be experiencing.
You just don't. I think
like,
I
you're
think
still
the Thor SAO is like pretty similar to Hina Logic, except like worse. I guess it's less dead to like bounce, but it's still pretty dead because you don't have a finisher and you're reliant on the field to win. It falls for me
like just every time
I just don't see a reason to play SAO if I could play Hina Logic, really, or at least that version of SAO, right? Like book
definitely
standby. Book standby still has a finisher, sort of.
I mean, in that deck, you usually win
if
level 2.
Like as you said earlier, if your field gets answered, you actually just don't have very much to do. Whereas in SAO, more backup measures, right? Like
what are those measures? Playing heals?
You can still heal. You can still like your deck compression isn't drastically altered by the fact that at your level your front row got balanced. Have anti-damage.
I mean that's like barely passable. Like, yeah, it doesn't get wrecked as much as Hina Logic,
It's
but
definitely not deadly. Like there are unfavorable situations as with any deck, right? But
then the big problem is like
I feel like what you were just looking at is, I mean, if
you also go naturally
damage-based
-1 at
decks.
level 1 if you want to play a class, which is unfortunate.
what you're looking at is a field-based deck, and what if the field doesn't go so well? But the counter is just if you're playing a deck that relies on doing that wants to do damage as fast as possible, but your opponent cancels a bit nicely. One it didn't do. Like what do you do is the same thing. It's just that cancels is not really argue that past that point. It's just like if they cancel, right?
The problem here is that I only hear like a third of what you're saying, or half.
Basically,
My internet sucks.
well, basically what he said was the argument you use for decks that want to play fast, like the fail case for those decks, they fail in. He's saying that the conditions for failing those decks is like similar to like a fail condition you would bring up for Sao. Like decks that want to play fast get wrecked by decks that cancel pretty well, and like decks like Sao that want to win the field, just like that win the game off like winning the board consistently over turns. Well, if they get their field answered, I mean, then that's just what happens.
Getting their field answered is not really random, whereas the opponent canceling a lot would be a difference. And also, I'm not sure like what deck specifically like just wants to go fast and gets completely wrecked by the opponent canceling. Like Sunshine, maybe.
Sunshine can still somewhat play slow, just because you have like massive value plays of 3 stock and tossing 1 and getting 2 level 3 on the field.
Yeah. Then I'm not really seeing like what deck is reliant on like turboing the game, because like most decks get better when the game goes long. Obviously, some decks get more better than others, but decks just tend to build resources over the game. And
instead of talking about like the deck as a whole, then you often say stuff about try fielding as fast as possible to do and getting in that damage, right?
Yeah.
Like let's talk about like that instead of decks. So if your opponent cancels 2 of those attacks and board, are you really in a favorable position? Like, yeah, you gained 1 stock, but you also paid 1 and clocked 1 to get. Oh, you didn't necessarily clock 1, but you also probably paid 1 to like put out the extra card. Your opponent answered stuff which didn't kill your stuff. Like same idea here, right? Like if your opponent happens to do well against it,
the opponent also deals less damage against you, right? Because you just feel it. Like the damage disparity isn't just but dealing.
Sure, but they like often in WS, if you go up a level first and you get to set up, then make it difficult for your opponent to win all 3 lanes. And if your opponent is playing one of those decks, which often is one of the decks where you want to put in the fast damage, then like what are you doing well?
I mean, usually those decks just need 1 reverse to like sustain themselves, right? Because pulsing engines are just better right now. Like that's the entire reason why try fielding as fast as possible is like a good strategy now, because decks just don't care. They plus enough. So that losing that advantage of like not getting all the damage because
I think we can move on. I think we can move on.
I don't think we're moving very much right now. Yeah, sure.
Sure. So we're kind of spinning in circles. Does anyone have anything else they want to say before we close up shop? No?
What's everyone's opinion on Kimono Friends?
Kimono Friends?
Yep.
What makes it particularly better or worse right now compared to, the earlier half of this year and the latter half of last year?
It's overrated right now because right now, decks that hyper compress either hyper compress with more efficiency and consistency than Kimono Friends,
Wait.
or have finishes that don't burn for 1, and as a
Why is it
result, Kimono
overrated?
Friends.
Why is it overrated when everybody has it in B?
Because other people overrate it, not me.
Sure. I mean,
Like
Kimono
it's
Friends is just Kimono Friends is also something that a deck that fundamentally breaks the game's rules.
Does it? You mean with
Dolphin.
Alpaca, or what do you
Hey,
mean?
I want to hear more about that. I'm very curious.
Like Dolphin is just a recurable 3+.
Oh, sure,
always.
Dolphin. Yeah, all right.
Dolphin is a card that just breaks the game's rules. And Alpaca and the Free Fresh, that's just stuff that makes Dolphin like good because you just compress more and cancel more. That enables Dolphin to be good, but Dolphin is like a card that breaks rules.
No, I can get behind that, to be honest. Dolphin is a card that breaks, like it's a very experimental set in my opinion, because like you've got Alpaca, you've got Lucky Beast, which for once is actually like a really powerful card, the Free Fresh, and then you've obviously got Dolphin. So it does have a lot of cards which would not typically feature in, you know, the stock standard decks where you go level 1 combo, level 2 EP, level 3 finisher. But it does have enough merit to stand alone. The thing is, I don't think right now is a very good time for Kimono Friends, because the list of decks that it preys on is just not big enough.
It kind of just preys on, yeah. I guess that's a good way to put it.
If it's good against a bunch of decks in the meta,
can
it's
win
like,
against everything if they just hit decent, like if they get decent second deck compression, and if they, well, actually no, they need to just basically, if they sack cancels at 2, like if they cancel 2 attacks at 2, the game just snowballs out of control to a point where the opponent can't win unless they're playing anti-heal. Because Kimono just builds so much more resources that you just can't really deal with it, and it's sort of uninteractable except for like stock swaps. But because like the anti-burn isn't as effective right now, and because you actually need to sack those cancels, and that's not like an every game thing, deck's just not that good right now.
There are also quite a few. There's like a few good decks right now that run stock swaps, or can run stock swaps in response to Kimono.
Yeah, that too.
Which is also a problem, because that is basically the only way to break Kimono's like
lock, sort of.
Yeah. Where you just, and the lock being like, you create good second deck compression, you brainstorm, you're more likely to hit brainstorms, you cancel, then you reset your deck quite easily with Lucky Beast, and you keep doing that over and over again.
And you're just swinging 1/1/1, and the opponent always has to swing for at least 2 plus trigger.
Yeah. Like Kimono breaks the rule of inevitability that Weiss has, like wherein like, you know, decks usually, you know, take damage in such a way.
It's the Hina Logic problem. It's the Hina Logic does it better than Kimono Friends right now.
No, it's Hina Logic, but you actually, the Kimono,
you can't touch markers.
I think you can tell. Well, the thing about Hina Logic though is that like you can get rid of the markers with, you know, the anti-change tech, and once you like start removing them, like the compression doesn't amount to much.
Whereas Kimono actually uses the stock for like just heal to 3/0 every turn or whatever.
Like imagine if there were a card, hypothetically, that read something like pay 1 stock, get rid of a third of your opponent's stock. That'd be like ridiculous against like stock charge decks, like Kimono or something. Like that's how would I see anti-change bombs as against Hina Logic. Like the impact to like compression, that deck's the deck's main game plan is like on that level to me. As a hypothetical card like that. So I think Kimono's just a little bit different. I don't think it's worse per se.
No, I just think the game plan is very similar and get to the point where
there's a couple differences because Hina Logic is still at most points vulnerable to like burn once. Kimono Friends obviously isn't. And Hina Logic also takes refresh damage at one point. Kimono doesn't. If it doesn't want to. The Kimono actually can go infinite.
Yeah. Between
Okay.
dolphins and brainstorms.
That's fair enough, but
But
I
the
don't
problem
think anyone
is-
here is rating
I
it
mean,
above
everybody
2
here
currently.
has it rated as B, I think, except for like,
Ian has it as A, but he's unsure.
yeah, B probably just hasn't played against it a lot.
Nope, not much.
Anything else? We've gone for a fair while. It's like 2 hours, I think.
3 hours. It's almost 3 hours. The runtime's almost 3 hours.
Yeah. I think we've covered what we want to cover. And if you've stayed with us this long, thank you very much, because always good to have company on these rides. We're going to link the show notes where we have a few more detailed notes on our thoughts on the ban list. And you can go over our quote unquote tier list with a fine-tooth comb. Plus we have a few other bonus slides from people who aren't on the list and had to cancel at the last moment. Does anyone have anything they want to say before we finish up? Any shout outs, any sign offs?
We should make like timestamps for this is Hina Logic, this is to Lover.
Yeah.
We'll sort that out
Don't worry about it.
with the aftercare. Anyone else have anything to say? Any sets they want to shout out? Any secret builds they want to claim credit for before Japan tops with them?
Fate Lasers OP. Best deck in the game. Can't beat it.
Fate
All
Lace
right.
is actually better than I remember it being.
Right.
Which is probably because Ilya can attack more profitably.
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah, if Kasumi Mocha is like the thing that ultimately ends up as the Bang Dream deck, I'm gonna take credit for that again.
Okay. Look, thank you to everyone for coming on. It's a very inconvenient time for some of our people here. And I'm grateful that everyone came together to try and put some quality content together, and I'm pretty happy with the discussion. I don't think we got too off topic. I don't think we got particularly disrespectful anywhere, and I think that's very good. So thank you to everyone for joining. Thank you to everyone for listening. Leave comments below, or you can hit us up on the various Discord channels or on the global community, where several of us are moderators. And if you enjoyed the content, give us, like, subscribe, But we're happy to bring this to you, and we'll continue on with this consistent content as much as we can. So thank you again for joining us, and have a nice whatever it is you have, day, evening, night.